those are fake accounts that Twitter let put up. So they let people put up fake accounts. So what I did today, and I had lawyers get those accounts taken down. So what I did today, right on the way here, I had my account put up at Mike J. Lindell, and I did a video on my airplane that said, hey you guys, this is really me, everything else is fake. It got up, within about an hour, got up to 56,000 followers in an hour, and old Jack Dorsey took it down. So the fake news media...
Hey everybody, I'm here. We're just waiting for Trump to start, and right now it could be a while. Who knows how long Trump's going to take to get out there. I just realized that my speakers were probably bleeding through the microphone, and that first 20 seconds of broadcast might contain Elton John's Rocket Man in the background through my speakers, through the microphone to this, which then could get me a copyright strike. So, the life of a YouTuber. Let's do this while we're waiting for this nonsense to get out of the way. Let's check in on this morning's action. I was just going to leave this up, but I'm here anyway, so let's do this. Let's go here. Hey everybody, happy Sunday to you. I am your Heavenly Father. We are just waiting on Trump to take the stage. Somebody keep an eye on that. This was Hannity from the other day. This was, in case you missed it, they were making fun of Joe Biden for not being able to say kleptocracy. Let's go back. Can you play for me, Hannity? And then Dr. Oz came on and said that he had to get a cognitive test, an assessment, because he couldn't say kleptocracy. You'll watch. Let me put on the headphones here, and now that I got my cans on, we will go to me. We'll give you audio, and let's see if this works.
Leaders should have cognitive tests.
Right, leaders should have cognitive tests. Why?
And there's a simple one. President Trump took the Montreal Cognitive Assessment. By the way, I put it on DrOz.com, so all the viewers now, when the show's done, can go to it and just do it yourself. Simple test. Remember 5 words, and then remember them in 5 minutes. Or start right now counting back by 7s from 100. Simple test, not difficult to do. Yeah. President Biden had a physical last November. His doctor, O'Connor, did not conduct this test or any other cognitive test that we're aware of. And yet, as you point out, half of the American public suspect that he's mentally unfit.
He's
not. How do you explain the forgetfulness, the outbursts, the handshakes into the air, or the, quote, the guys who are
outbursts
are the kleptocracies? And by the way, it's a pretty brave move to put kleptocracy in the...
Kleptocracy. It's pretty brave, Dr. Oz. When are you taking that cognitive assessment? That's what I want to know. Let's go look at our friend Maria Bartiromo from this morning. I haven't watched it, but let's... Maria Sunday morning futures. Hooray, hooray. There's Romper Stompers. What were we even watching that for? How do we keep an eye here? Let's do this. Let's make this tiny. There we go. We can probably watch this and that at the same time. Keep an eye on what's going on at the rally. And this is from 7 hours ago.
Go to church, everybody. Have a great Sunday.
Bye. Good Sunday morning, everyone. Welcome to Sunday Morning Futures. I'm Maria Bartiromo. Today, free speech under attack. The news has not been good. The economy...
So, the news has not been good. The economy is actually fantastic. So if the economy is in such bad shape, nobody told anybody that was a Costco today. That place was jam-packed, and people were spending big time. Televisions and, I don't know, air conditioner units, a lot of big stuff at the Costco.
Contracted 1.4% in the first quarter, the realest sign yet of an ensuing recession.
That's not the correct way to say that. She's an economy reporter. She should know that.
It's a preliminary number. I was expecting a low number, but it's shocking.
The price of food, gasoline, energy soaring. Inflation at 40-year highs. The Federal Reserve...
Yeah, nothing new. Okay, here we go. Let's go right through it.
New truth.
Yeah. Okay, there we go. Okay, enough with the music. Let's go.
who have misled the American people want to tell you what's truth and what isn't.
Yeah.
The Biden administration this week announced a new Disinformation Governance Board within the Department of Homeland Security, the second largest agency behind the Department of Defense. Biden has placed Nina Jankowicz to run this division, who has tweeted misinformation in the past several years, including these tweets that President Trump colluded with Russia and that Hunter Biden's laptop was disinformation.
Yeah, well, he did collude with Russia. We know that for a fact. Nobody understands the definition of collusion. Did he work with Russia? So did he somehow cooperate with Russia? Did Russia cooperate with Trump? Well, yeah, he said, Russia, if you're listening, you would be mightily rewarded by the media if you were to find Hillary Clinton's email. And they started digging that day. That's collusion right there. That's all it takes. Is it conspiracy? No. Robert Mueller did not prove conspiracy. Why not? Look at page 10 of the Mueller report. The people in the Trump campaign that Robert Mueller interviewed pled the fifth, and we all know you don't plead the fifth unless you're guilty. They deleted emails, and they would not let the Mueller report take a look at their encrypted messages. What are you going to do? So, yeah, they couldn't prove conspiracy, but that was because, you know, they deleted emails. You know, like Hillary Clinton deleted emails about yoga, etc. So there was collusion. Collusion's a very, very simple definition to make. So this is nonsense so far. Okay, back on the laptop from hell. This is from Nina Jankowicz. Back on the laptop from hell, apparently, Biden notes 50 former National Secretary officials and 5 former CIA heads that believe the laptop is Russian influence op. Trump says Russia, Russia, Russia. I don't remember Biden noting that. Maybe. Anyway, I don't know why this lady's in charge of this disinformation board. No one's really even sure what it is. It's a terrible idea. Shouldn't be called that. But you should have communications experts in the departments, and they can handle the disinformation. It's okay.
This, of course, coming to us years after all of the disinformation from Democrats.
Our message has been straightforward and simple, and it's true. The border is closed.
The data shows.
Yeah, the border's closed. You can't just walk in through the border. It's true.
That most of the price increases we've seen were expected and are expected to be temporary.
You can see evidence in plain sight on the issue of collusion, pretty compelling evidence.
And they will be temporary. And temporary is a long definition, but yeah.
Nothing has changed about what I said yesterday. The president does not get involved in the business dealings of his son.
Well, let me be clear.
That's also true.
Any American.
We don't have any information whatsoever that President Biden is somehow involved in the business dealings of his son. There's nothing. Not a shred. Even on Hunter's laptop. Not a shred. There was an 81-page report put together by Chuck Grassley and Ron Johnson from the Republican side of the Senate. 81 pages determined Biden hadn't done anything wrong. And even if, as vice president, he had somehow gotten involved in the business dealings of his son, not a single federal law, practice, policy was changed as a result. And it wouldn't have been illegal if it was. Go figure that. There's exemptions for the president and vice president. So it didn't happen, and even if it did, it's fine. And as far as when Biden's a private citizen, if something happened then, again, we have no evidence that it did. If something happened then, that's fine. He's a private citizen. He's allowed to do what he wants.
Wants to come home. We will get you home.
Well, unfortunately, they did not come home. Joining me right now to separate the truth from disinformation is Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson, who sent a letter to DHS Secretary.
Well, the people in Afghanistan, Afghanistan is too big of a topic to get into right now. But here's Ron Johnson. Okay, here's Ron Johnson, one of the guys who investigated the Hunter Biden laptop fiasco, scandal, laptop from hell nonsense. Here we go.
Mayorkas this week asking for information about this Disinformation Governance Board, and James Comer, ranking member of the Oversight Committee, who has documented influence peddling by Hunter Biden. Gentlemen, thanks very much for joining us this morning. Ron Johnson, let me kick this off with you and get your reaction to this new division the Biden administration is starting, Disinformation Governance Board.
Good morning, Maria. Well, the First Amendment to our Constitution states that Congress shall pass no law abridging the freedom of speech.
Right. He's executive, not Congress.
So we've passed no such law.
Yeah.
The president's job is to faithfully execute the law, so he has no authority to do this. This is Orwellian. This is a ministry of truth. And the person they've appointed is a Democrat propagandist. She pushed the Russian collusion with the Trump campaign hoax.
Yeah, there was collusion. I mean, that's factual. There's no doubt about that.
She pushed the hoax that the laptop was some form of Russian information campaign.
Disinformation campaign. If you're going to talk about the Disinformation Committee, understand the difference between information and disinformation, especially when you're accusing the other side. Okay.
Those are probably two of the most egregious and I would say effective piece of disinformation. They had more impact on our body politic, on our elections, than anything else I could think of, and certainly had a greater impact than anything Russia.
Well, you know, Trump's behavior and tweeting had quite a bit to do with the information and the election.
Ever could have dreamed of, and she was leading the charge on that disinformation. You can't make this up. This is the exact person that this administration now is appointed to head this unconstitutional Disinformation Governance Board. This is outlandish. It should not be funded. It should never be established.
Well, I mean, we have the tweets from Nina Jankowicz right here.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what it is. By the way, Trump was due 43 minutes ago, so still waiting on Trump. If you're just tuning in right now, we're waiting on Trump to start speaking. Once he does, we'll cut over to that.
She told us that Hunter Biden's laptop was disinformation. She told us that Trump colluded with Russia. I mean, it's all here in plain sight, Senator, and yet they're moving forward just like they moved forward with a vaccine mandate, which was also deemed unconstitutional. Is this going to pass? Can they do this?
Some vaccine mandates were constitutional, some were not. That's been determined.
With nobody stopping them.
Well, they just do it through executive order. I mean, they'll do it through the agencies. But again, they have no authority to do it whatsoever. In my letter, I asked Secretary Mayorkas under what...
Well, no, they're not cracking down on anyone. There's no announcement of any plan to be able to stop someone from saying what they want to say. But the government should be involved in putting out truthful information. And when information is not truthful, the government has no problem and every right in the Constitution for the general welfare of the people, which is the very first thing the government's supposed to do, to put out the correct information so that the American citizens are informed with apt information. That's constitutional right there. They're not abridging anybody's, infringing upon anybody's right to free speech.
What authority are you establishing this? No,
Marcy. It's supposed to be, no, okay, well, the newspaper I looked up had it at 4 o'clock Central. Then I saw another one 5 o'clock. But then earlier in the broadcast, I heard them say 4 o'clock. So I don't know.
This governance board. But again, they are brazen. They do what they accuse others of doing. They flood the town square with all kinds of information repeatedly, time and time again. And it's all about covering up. You know, Maria, we are now witnessing.
Well, it's time and time again. Give us one example.
What President Obama, what President Biden meant when they say they were going to fundamentally transform America. They are fundamentally destroying this country with open borders, 40-year high.
Okay, that's disinformation. There's no open borders.
Inflation, record gasoline prices, and
they're not records.
Now, something to abridge the freedom of speech.
Right, gasoline has come down the last couple of weeks, last month, really.
Every American should awaken to the urgency of the moment.
But they're not doing anything yet to infringe on speech. If they do, that's an issue. But again, they're not Congress.
Every American should be frightened about what Democrat governments and what Democrat...
Democratic, and I'm not frightened. Thank you.
Policies are doing.
I'm more frightened by what's happening in many Republican states with limiting women's rights. That's what I'm more concerned about, because I know women. I have a woman in my family, my daughter, who's of childbearing years, and she should have the rights over her own body. That's just me. I know it's crazy thinking that Americans should have freedom. I'm like, you know. Certainly not what the Founding Fathers intended. But yeah, my daughter, she gets to vote, which is like, what? That wasn't in the Constitution.
To destroy this nation. They are fundamentally destroying America.
They are not.
Well, this is a very serious charge, and also it's quite an
and supercilious.
Extraordinary moment in time. Congressman Coleman.
Is it, though? Is this an extraordinary moment in time? Because I'm kind of bored with this whole moment in time thing. I don't know that it's that extraordinary. I was under the hope and disillusionment that a Biden presidency would be boring. And honestly, kind of is. But he did a fantastic job last night at the Correspondents' Dinner. And it was nice to see a president who wasn't afraid to attend the Correspondents' Dinner. In 2024, we'll probably have one president that's afraid to debate the other candidate.
Let's talk about some of the facts that you have unearthed. Senator Johnson has been working on this investigation in the Senate for years now with Charles Grassley. You also have uncovered specific facts about Hunter Biden and influence peddling. And we have these graphics here to indicate Hunter Biden's tax returns and government ethics filings. What did you learn this week that you can share?
Hunter Biden needs to be impeached. I'll say it. I'm not partial one side or the other. Hunter Biden should be kicked out of office right now.
Well, as you know, Maria, the White House and Joe Biden himself have...
Where's the White House? Is it like a trailer somewhere?
Always denied any knowledge of Hunter Biden.
Where are the graphics? Did we see the graphics? Because they promised us graphics. Is this the graphics guy?
Biden's business dealings, they've always said that was a separate entity. But what we've learned this week through correspondence from Hunter Biden's laptop is that Hunter Biden's business partner not only made 27 appearances to the White House when Joe Biden was vice president, but also that Hunter Biden's business partner received Joe Biden's Delaware tax return, deposited it into Joe Biden's personal checking account, and then turned around and wrote a check from Joe Biden to Hunter Biden for money that Joe Biden owed Hunter.
Was he their financial advisor? Because all of that would be completely normal. Was he their accountant? Was he a CPA? Was he a friend? There's nothing unusual about that. Hunter Biden is an investment advisor and a lawyer. Could have been their lawyer. I don't know this guy. I don't know. Could have all fine. Nothing wrong with that. What are we upset about?
So this proves that not only did Joe Biden have a lot of access to Hunter Biden's business partner, but Hunter's and Joe Biden's finances were entangled. So this.
Well, no. If Joe Biden owed Hunter Biden some money, or had said, "I will give you this money," even as I could have said, "Hey, you know what? I'm going to die at some point. I'm a millionaire. I'm going to give both my kids $10,000, $15,000 a year." I used to be $10,000 that you could give your kid tax-free. Maybe it's $20 now. I don't know. Then that's completely normal behavior. I don't know. Haven't really looked into that much because honestly, I'm not electing Hunter Biden.
This leads to a lot of questions that we've had.
Oh, look at that guy and his son being affectionate. That's sick. Sick, Democrats.
Is Joe Biden compromised because of Hunter Biden's business dealings with Communist China?
And the answer is no. Okay.
Yeah, and we have right here Joe and Jill Biden's federal tax returns versus the...
You know why? Because as a presidential candidate, he released those tax returns, which every president since Nixon has done, except one guy. I forget who. One of the presidents refused to release his tax returns. That's just some oversight, probably.
Government ethics filings. We want you to walk us through what is most important for us to take note of in terms of Joe Biden's tax returns.
Yeah.
He's got a federal tax return total income of $16 million and ethics filing total income of $9.6 million. What can you tell us?
Okay.
Well, I can tell you that if you factor in Joe Biden's potential income, that there's still going to be a $5.2 million.
Okay, potential income. Potential income. Okay, so not income?
Discrepancy in what Joe Biden reported on his federal tax income and what Joe Biden actually reported on his financial disclosure form. Now, this is very serious.
Because not everything on the financial disclosure, or so not everything on the tax forms would go on the financial disclosure form. It's a different form. Remember Trump filled out the financial disclosure form and then had to amend it? Remember Ivanka, and speaking of sons and daughters, remember Ivanka and Jared had to amend their form 40 times? 40 times before they could get security clearance? 40.
If you're in the executive branch at any level, especially president or vice president, and you don't disclose income, but we've got a $5.2 million discrepancy here that would lead one to believe that Joe Biden may in fact be the big guy, which we've all seen the email that said the big guy gets his 10% cut. Remember, this cut is from a partnership with communist China. And if this is the case, not only did Joe Biden not disclose this on his transparency form, but Joe Biden has in fact broken the law and profited from a foreign national.
Well, not while he was in office. Even if this wild allegation is true and the big guy happens to be Joe Biden, that's fine. If this happened during his time as a private citizen, no problem. That's completely allowed.
Senator Johnson, this is...
Remember, this is all before he was president.
Absolutely extraordinary, and you have also documented much of this. We have the 10% for the big guy.
Yeah, Senator Johnson, you and Senator Grassley looked at this. There's an 81-page report, and they said that Joe Biden did nothing wrong. Why are we here?
Email. What are your thoughts on where this investigation stands, even in the face of Biden coming up with this new division in government to claim that he's going to slap down on disinformation when, in fact, all the disinformation is coming from his office?
Well, Senator Grassley and I tried to warn the American public about the vast web of foreign financial entanglements of the Biden family and how that compromised the potential President Biden. Now we're seeing the compromise. In terms of the investigation...
In terms of what? How is Biden going easy on China? I mean, again, this has been looked at by Senator Ron Johnson. Oh, that's you. And it was determined that there were no ethics or legal violations. That's your report.
It appears that they're starting to investigate this. They've impaneled a grand jury. They're calling witnesses. But my concern, Maria, is that they'll gather the evidence, and then under Merrick Garland's Department of Justice, they'll enter some kind of plea agreement, a slap on the wrist, and part of the plea agreement will be to seal the records so the American public never understands the full extent of the corruption and the compromise of the Biden family. That is my concern.
Yeah.
I think it's a very legitimate concern, and I'm trying to call it out.
Yeah, because then Hunter would have to pay and make compensation available to the United States government for some kind of tax fraud, if in fact he did commit tax fraud. Wouldn't surprise me. People do it. Hunter doesn't seem like that much of an upstanding citizen. Again, please don't vote for Hunter Biden. And if the Justice Department agrees to enter into a plea agreement with him, that's okay. That's totally legal. If President Biden happens to pardon him, like President Trump did to Manafort and to Steve Bannon, who defrauded his own peoples, Trump's own peoples, out of millions of dollars to help build a wall. then that's an issue. If Joe Biden pardons Hunter Biden, then it's like, hey, you shouldn't do that. But you know what? He's got the right to do it. Not illegal.
Publicly, so that doesn't happen, because the American public deserve the truth. They've been bamboozled.
Yeah.
They have been lied to.
In fact, I would love it if Hunter Biden. By the way, the IRS cases, they never go to trial. It's very, very rare. In a case like Al Capone, maybe, but it's always plea bargain. You pay your penalty and it's fine. And if you've committed some sort of law that's big enough, egregious enough to merit some kind of jail time, then you go plea bargain. And that's what the government does. But I would love it if Hunter somehow found guilty of something or other, has to suffer the consequences, and Joe Biden doesn't pardon him. I would love that. I mean, I don't want Hunter to go to jail, but if he does, and Joe Biden's like, nope, if that's what he did, that's the justice system, I'm not going to interfere with it. It wouldn't shut anyone up, but it would be nice.
Our national security.
Yeah.
And it's not just this last bit of it with Hunter Biden, but we've been talking about Russia, and the Russia canard now for years. I want to slip in a break and then ask you just about that, the potential of tipping the scales. Last week, former DNI John Ratcliffe told us to watch Merrick Garland and whether...
All right. Let me see if there's anybody interesting on here. Grassley, no good. Yeah, so this is Ron Johnson, more Ron Johnson. Okay, and Gingrich, that's all they've got. Oh, they got a little thing from, oh, it couldn't have been, last night. They got something from last night. So let's check out last night here.
And at a maximum may well have a serious cognitive problem. I mean, in a commander-in-chief in a dangerous world, that should bother all of us way beyond politics. And it's clearly obvious every single week with President Biden. I think, second, he has a dual problem. He has a performance problem. Go to the gas pump, go to the grocery store, talk to average Americans. They feel every day the failure of government to perform. And he has a policy problem, which Elon Musk captured.
I don't know. Dr. Jill looks pretty happy.
Perfectly this week, that they've now moved so far to the left. They're doing things that are so nutty that people both reject how they're performing.
Look at the people laughing at Joe Biden. Really, you're going to show the footage but not actually show some of his speech? Because if they show the speech, people are watching are going to be like, yeah, it doesn't look like he's struggling to find words.
Performing, but also reject what they believe. I mean, creating a government censorship office is crazy.
That's not what it is. So, any more than the death panels were death panels. Never happened.
Opening the border totally is crazy.
No one's doing that. Absolutely no thought whatsoever of opening the border totally, Newt.
You just go through item after item like that.
Outlawing all cats is just wrong. I have 3 of them, and Joe Biden wants to take away all the cats in America. It's insanity.
And you have to think this is a party and a president that have totally lost their way.
You mentioned...
So you're going to show the clip from last night, but you're not going to show him actually talking. I wonder why not.
Elon...
Why would you want to see evidence of the president and his cognition? Why would you want to see that?
Musk's tweet, let's show that. This is the stick figure political chart, which you just referenced, and you got a kick out of this. Why? Explain this stick figure chart and what you think it tells us.
Well, I think it's another example of Elon Musk being unbelievably smarter than almost everybody else. He took everything pollsters and social analysts have been saying and political analysts, and put it into a couple of very simple tweets, or a couple of simple stick figures. Back in 2008, he was sort of a liberal, and the liberals were fairly close to the center.
You guys see that?
Then in 2012, he was beginning to be sort of in the center, saying and political analyst.
There we go.
I put it into a couple of very...
Here we go. I'll bring it up for you here. There you go. So here's Elon. It says, me, my fellow liberals over on the left, and the conservatives. Then there's the center, so he's left of center. And then in 2012, suddenly the liberals took off. I don't know why 2012, but that's what Elon tweeted. And then over here, it's the woke progressives way over here. And the center, you'll see, has moved. And now Elon is right of center. And, well, then stop listening to AOC, I guess. All right, Elon. Stop opening your factories during COVID and killing your workers. That's also something that I would suggest. That's just me. I know. Crazy, crazy. People still waiting for President Trump. Coming up now on 5 o'clock Central. It did not start at 4 o'clock Central. The other time I saw it was 5 o'clock Central, so we're there now. That guy's having a good time, though.
Simple tweets. Or a couple of simple...
What is he bopping out to? Hold on, let's find out.
If I was looking right now, the bots and trolls go, then how...
I think it's Somebody Told Me by the Killers. Could be wrong.
Stick figures. Back in 2008, he was sort of a liberal. And
okay.
The corruption of what's on Hunter's laptop, right? Walk
there
us
he is
through
again.
What you
Are
mean.
you going to show some audio?
Well, the University of Pennsylvania...
Okay.
Polls here in terms of the midterm elections. I want to get your take on the Republicans. Obviously, the Democrats are attacking Kevin McCarthy. Is there any division within the Republican Party? What can you say about that? No. And do you believe that the GOP has the advantage both on the House and the Senate side come November?
I think we'll pick up between 25 and 70 seats in the House. We'll probably pick up about 4 seats at least in the Senate.
That's a little more accurate, but 25 and 70 is that's a pretty wide range. But there's a lot of seats in the House, so what are you going to do? Let's go back to the main feed here. Here we go.
I think that people like Herschel Walker are going to do very, very well. In addition, I would say that if you're in a district that Biden carried by less than 15 or 20 points, you're in great danger as a Democrat. And if the tsunami gets big enough, we beat Ross Stankowski, for example, in downtown Chicago. Nobody thought that was possible. Once these things start.
Okay, let's go into the next segment here.
Well, welcome back. Well, the extreme progressive left has been melting down over billionaire Elon Musk's $44 billion takeover of social media company Twitter.
I've yet to see anybody melt down. I know there's some people that are upset about it. Some people are like, one person shouldn't own all of Twitter. All right. I don't care that much. Twitter's still going to operate. Are they going to let Trump back in? Trump says he's not going to come back. He will. If they let him back in, he will. Are they going to say, okay, we're going to let everybody say whatever they want to say? Okay, well, then you're going to get filled up with child porn very quickly.
Which the Twitter board has accepted, sparking the censorship queen of Twitter, the head of legal at the company, to break down in tears. The same woman, of course, who greenlighted banning Trump from the platform, and the New York Post's coverage of the Hunter Biden laptop story. Well, Elizabeth Warren has called Musk's ownership dangerous to democracy. President Trump's social media company so far seems to be benefiting, topping the free app store all week as it transitioned onto the Rumble cloud.
I don't have, it's on Rumble now. It's on the Rumble cloud. Interesting. Wow. If it's on the same cloud as Rumble, it'll be interesting to see how long that lasts before it gets completely hacked.
And boasted that they will not rely on...
Oh, yeah. So Mike Pillow was just on the RSBN here complaining that Twitter suspended him. So he just opened up a new account? Is that what he did? It'll be minutes. Minutes is the answer.
On big tech to survive and are, quote, not cancelable. That is what my next guest told me last week, and he joins me once again, and that is former California Congressman and now the CEO of Truth Social, Devin Nunes. He joins me right now to talk more about this. Thanks.
Well, if Elon's buying Twitter and the right is so crazy about that, why on earth would Truth Social be gaining in a bunch of followers unless they finally fixed their wait list? That's if they're getting a bunch of followers... or new members, I guess, it's because they finally addressed their wait list. And if that means going onto the Rumble servers or whatever, okay. I can't remember if I even signed up for True Social. I have no idea.
Thanks very much for being here, Devin.
There's Getter and there's Parler. Is Parler even around anymore? Hold on, let's look at Parler. Not that. Let's pull up Parler here. Parler.com. Is it Parler? Is it Parler? ER? That would be Parlay. Wait a minute. What's this? This is oh, this looks like a XXX site. Okay, so you gotta spell Parler correctly. Parler.com, is that it? Yeah, so Parler's still there. Remember, Parler was going to kill Twitter, and all the right-wing nuts are going to go, okay, well, it's still there, and somehow Twitter survives, and is apparently worth $43 billion, but okay.
Here's your take on what went on this week. Congrats on being top of the App Store, even as Elon Musk takes over Twitter and is expected to make big changes there.
Well, thank you, Maria. It's been a great week, as you said in the...
Can someone with an iPhone just pull up the App Store and see if he is, in fact, True Social, if that's #1 on the free apps?
Opening started being on the Rumble cloud. This is something that the big tech tyrants, and now we actually know the government with their new disinformation service, never wanted to happen. Our goal, and President Trump's goal, was to give the American people their voice back. And that's what we've done. And there's no big tech tyrant that can take us down. And so that's why I think it's so Orwellian, so dystopian, something that you only see in dictatorships, that now...
Marcy says she's on True Social. Congratulations, Marcy. I think like the first day I tried to sign up and you couldn't even get through to sign up and wait, I think.
They're going to set up some type of disinformation board. I mean, I think that's a direct attack on what we are doing at True Social, because we can no longer be canceled. So now what do they have left to do? We're going to protect our users from this new phony government disinformation service. And the fact that they would use some D-rated
I can't even sign up for True Social on a browser, so they're going to make me download it.
TikTok star that is the queen of disinformation herself on the Russia hoax and the laptop from hell to head this up is really the height of hypocrisy that's so unbelievable. I've spent so much time.
What are they rocking out to now? Hold on.
And to really support all of us as Americans.
And they stayed. They didn't leave.
I don't know what song that is. Can somebody name this song? Here we go. We can't listen for very long. Name that song in 2 seconds.
We are going to the hype song. Now I will...
YMCA. Okay. Back to Devin Nunes.
I'm in Washington. I don't think I've ever seen something so...
So YMCA usually, now they're playing it to pump people up right before the president gets there. And then they'll go into Proud to be American, where I know that gas is free.
Ridiculous. But the good thing is we are going to protect our users on our platform. They're not going to be canceled, and they're not going to be censored for political speech. So, you know, I know they may want to do it, and they're going to use the Department of Homeland Security to do it, but we're not going to.
Thank you, Marcy. Marcy just confirmed that True Social is currently #1 on the iPhone thing.
Tolerate it.
Well, they can make life difficult for you, right? They've made life difficult for Elon Musk already. They want to haul him into Congress so that they could question him about this Twitter acquisition. They could get in your way.
No, nobody in Congress wants Devin Nunes to come back.
Well,
you
feel, I mean, you're a private company now, but do you have everything in place in terms of what you need to have in terms of regulatory approval?
Yeah, well, I would love to see them bring me back into Congress. I would love to go up here before the Senate and talk about this. My guess is that they're probably not going to bring me there because, you know, they don't want to hear hear the truth. I mean, I would love to lay out for the Congress how they, the left, have colluded with the media, have colluded with these tech tyrants, and now they're throwing a fit because they know that we have a beachhead. We're having guys like Elon Musk step up and say, look, we're going to go ahead and we're going to look to take Twitter.
Right, that's your competition. Elon Musk just killed your business, buddy. You're the CEO. You should be upset by this, but okay.
We're off the table here and try to turn them back into a free speech platform. You know, what we're doing now is we're moving ahead. We're going to ignore the government.
I can tell you that right now YMCA is being played. How do I know that? You'll see.
government. We're not going to be regulated. But what we're going to focus on is where are the eyeballs? And I think what should be a concern to most Americans is that a lot of young people are going to TikTok. We have a lot of people on Instagram and Facebook. We're going to be that safe home for people. So
yeah, TikTok is not a competition for Twitter. It's a different thing.
We're focusing right now on what can we do next.
Oh, yeah.
Clearly, our most important thing is we're...
Pack it up. Pack it up and head home because you're dead.
On the App Store, we're number one most of the week. We continue to be on the top charts. And what we're focusing on now is by the end of May, we want to try to be on all the platforms so you can get it from anywhere. And then after that, we hopefully will be on the Google Play Store for Android. So,
oh, they're not, I can't even get it. That's what it is. I have an Android, like 73% of the world's population. They don't even have an Android app yet? Hold on. Are we... that's so insanely dumb. It's purple? Okay. Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen the app in production, and I've seen it. Somebody has screenshot a couple of things. It's just Twitter. It's just purple Twitter. That's it. Let me open up the Play Store here for you. And Truth Social. And they don't have an app for the Android. That's it. There is no Android app. Great job, guys. By the way, takes so much more effort and delay to build an iPhone app because everything's got to be approved by Apple. You want to put an app on the Google Store? Sure, make the app, put it there. Done. Wow. Plus, much harder to find a developer. And Twitter should be dirt easy, and it is. To put together a Twitter. In fact, when I was in coding school for a very limited period of time, I built a Facebook. Something very similar to Facebook. With some, Twitch. It's not hard to build a chat format. Not hard at all. What you're seeing, this stream down here from YouTube, that takes a lot of processing power, but it's not hard to program at all.
We're focusing on the things that we can focus on, and that is to improve our user experience and be a safe place for everybody to come where they feel safe, where they're not going to be canceled by tech tyrants, number one. And number two, we're not going to give in to any disinformation czar that the Biden administration tries to put in place.
Yeah, you had big news this week when President Trump actually started posting on Truth Social. He is now on Truth Social.
What's he said?
Let me get your take on the Twitter acquisition.
Has he truthed anything? There's President Trump. We'll bring him back in a second. Likes to come out and jerk off into his face immediately. We're not going to bring up the volume on the other thing here because it's going to give me a copyright strike with the proud to be an American.
Elon Musk, how does that play out in terms of...
Oh, okay. He says, I'm back. Kofefe. Okay. It looks just like Twitter. It's a complete ripoff. There he is, jerking off again. You can see him.
...of a competition to Truth Social because you see Elon Musk saying a lot of the same things. You've made the point that Truth Social is not going to look like Twitter. You want to be bigger and perhaps take market share from things like Instagram as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of what Twitter really is a global PR wire. What we're doing at Truth is we're building a community where people are not going to be censored for political speech, where people can bring their videos, they can bring their pictures. We've partnered with Rumble on the Rumble cloud. So this is going to be, we're trying to give the features that in the marketplace that are on Instagram and on Facebook and on TikTok, because that's where the users are. That's where the eyeballs are. That's where the market is.
Right. You're trying to just copy the features. You got nothing new.
And the advantage we have is we're not going to cancel anyone.
I could noodle on this and come up, you know what, an edit button. An edit button. That's all they have to do. Just say, we're Twitter with an edit button. I'd go.
All right, real quick, Devin, before you go, you were the one who blew wide open the lies of the Russia collusion hoax. I know over the years you kept coming.
All right, we're done with them. Needlessly touches the mic, and here we go. End of that. It's windy. Likes to complain about the weather. He's old. Here we go. Make America great again. All right. One-term president, Donald John Trump.
Thank you very much, and thank you, Nebraska, a great place. Thanks for victories that we've had in Nebraska.
Thanks, victories.
And we've had a lot of them, and I've had a lot of them for you, too. It's great to be back in the American heartland with thousands and thousands.
That is a lot of tanning lotion on this man right now. That's a lot of makeup.
Of proud, hardworking American patriots. What a great crowd this is. We appreciate it very much. We appreciate it.
I'm just trying to see if anybody else is covering this so that we can watch that. RSBN deletes the feed as soon as it's done, so I'll look around for that. If anybody else sees a feed that's carrying this, let me know.
Your state had some of the very severe storms on Friday night. I was going to come. I was ready to come. The pilot said, sir, we have tornadoes, we have hailstones, we have everything. I said, I don't care. This is Nebraska. We've got to be there. We've got to be there. And then they said, you can't do it. And they also had a little thing called a tornado watch. I don't know. We don't want to have a tornado with all these people, right? I think that's not a good thing. So we decided to make it today, and it's an honor. I wouldn't have missed it. I wouldn't have missed it. I could have gotten out of this one. I could have said to Charles, Charles, sorry, I couldn't do it on Friday night because of the bad weather. And I heard it was really bad. I heard nobody would have disputed that. But I said, I got to come back, and I'm coming back on Sunday. And that's where we are right now. See, now Biden would say, I'm coming back on Monday. No, it's Sunday. If I ever made any of those mistakes, they'd run me out of town, right? But it really is. It's these.
No, you don't make mistakes that run you out of town.
They're great families with us today. They're friends of mine. I have a lot of friends of mine actually right here in the audience, and I appreciate you being here. We really have a big thing to go. 6 months from now, the people of Nebraska are going
a big thing to go
to vote to fire the radical left Democrats. We're going to elect Charles W. Herbster, a good man, a very good man. He's going to be elected as your...
Accused by multiple women of groping them inappropriately. Yep, but a good man. What is with his face?
Governor.
Is he doing brown face?
And you're going to send an incredible slate of true American First Republicans to Congress, and together we're going to end crazy Nancy Pelosi's political career once and for all.
Nope, she'll still be elected.
You could take the 5 worst presidents, and I say this, and I say it. I think we could actually add to it.
I say it, and I say it. Do you? Do you say it?
5 worst presidents, and I say this, and I say it. I think we could actually add to it.
You do say it, and I say it. In other words, I say it.
But you could take the 5 worst presidents in American history and put them together, and they would not have been able to do, and they certainly haven't done the damage that Joe Biden has done to our country in just 16 months. 16 months of time ago. Think of the damage that's been caused. But here's the good. 2.5 years from now, we have a big election, and in November, we have a big midterm. We have a very big, I think, really one of the most consequential that we've ever had, because we have to stop what's going on, and they want to keep it going. They'll keep it going.
Yeah.
We have to stop it. The contrast between the Trump administration's unbelievable and unprecedented success and even...
Okay, but I'm out of peanuts.
Even the enemy says it, and a lot of bad people that we don't like, and you have people on the other side that we do like, but they all say we had a great success, Joe Biden, and that's despite all of the witch hunts and hoaxes and everything else we had to go through. And Joe Biden's unmatched and really unmitigated.
All of the enemies say that he was a big success. They had a great success.
Failure.
Many happy, great success. Even the fortune cookies say you had great success. A great success.
Because it's been a tremendous, tremendous failure. Let's look at some of the facts, the numbers, and the results. It's undeniable. I got gas down to $1.87 a gallon, and even lower in some places.
I can deny that.
And they have it at
You got that, or the lack of demand because of COVID got that?
$5, $6, $7, and did you see over the weekend even $8 a gallon in some places?
I didn't see that. But a couple of states in California, sure.
I achieved what was once considered totally impossible.
An erection?
We were energy independent. Can you believe it?
We weren't. We were not.
They surrendered our energy dominance, and they've been begging for mercy from OPEC, Russia, Venezuela, Iran. They'll take it wherever they get it, and we're sitting right on top of liquid gold. We created the safest border in U.S. history. It was the best ever, and they have turned it into the worst border disaster. I don't think anywhere in the world, you can go to a third world country, I don't think you'd see anything like it in the world, no matter who it is. There's never been a border like this anywhere. People just coming in by the millions. And don't believe when you hear 1 million, 2 million, it'll be 10 or 15 million by the time that ends. And we're talking about...
What's going to end it? What are you talking about?
About in a short period of time. They're coming...
Oh, a short period of time. Like when your health care package gets here, is that...
Over at levels that nobody's ever seen before. We have no idea who the hell they are, where they're coming from. Last month they...
I mean, it's all documented, but okay.
Had 141 different countries represented.
Right, but we don't know where the hell they're coming from, but there's 141 countries represented. But we don't know. We have no idea.
It's horrible. We ended...
That is horrible.
Catch and release. We deported record numbers of illegal aliens and gang members. Tens of thousands of gang members we used to send out of this country, would send them back to where they came from.
Yeah.
Just a terrible thing.
Okay.
And now we don't do that anymore. In fact, our ICE patriots and our Border Patrol patriots are scorned by the administration. We built hundreds and hundreds of miles of border wall. In fact, I don't even know if you know this, we completely...
Is it going to be 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 1 week? How soon could you have gotten completed?
We finished our original plan of border wall. We then added much more and almost got that finished too, despite 2.5 years of litigation that we had to go through. We built much more than we even thought, but we saw...
Nope, never finished.
Certain areas...
You wanted 1,000 miles. About 500 is what got done. And it's still up. Hasn't had any effect. Remember that whole we got the safest border, lowest numbers? The wall's still there.
As we were building that needed it, and we got that almost built 3 weeks with it's all that...
Oh, it's back up to 3 weeks. Last week it was 2 weeks. This week it's 3. We got up to another week, the hypothetical.
It would have taken to finish a phase 2. The border wall was a great success and gave us record low immigration. Now the Biden administration...
Thanks to your mishandling of COVID, yes.
Doesn't know what to do, or do they know what to do? That's even scarier if they do know what to do and they're not doing it. I rebuilt our military, including our nuclear capacity and the creation of Space Force. 75 years, not since the Air Force. They gave $85 billion of our military away to the Taliban. You remember that? The press doesn't like talking about it. They don't mention it, including 700,000 machine guns, rifles, and other firearms. Think of what 700,000. I don't know if you know it. They're one of the biggest sellers of equipment now, guns, rifles, planes, munitions. One of the biggest anywhere in the world. They're selling the stuff that we stupidly left behind, as well as airplanes, helicopters, tanks.
We left them behind to the Afghan army. The people you sold out to the Taliban when you made the agreement with the Taliban without any involvement from the Afghan government. Those people. But you also wanted to leave, sir. Remember that?
And 70,000 trucks. Does anybody here own a car place, or does anybody
here own a car place?
Have a used car lot? 70,000 trucks. Many of them are armor plated, very expensive.
Okay, you're going to finish that thought with the, does anybody here own that?
Of course, millions and millions of dollars. Yeah. And they gave it away.
You going to ask them a question about 70,000 trucks or something?
For nothing, for no reason.
He's just all over the place today.
Wanted to get out.
There's a theme he goes with usually here. I don't know. Does anybody out there have a car, place?
They took the military out first. It's a horrible... Think of what happened. They took the military out first.
Okay.
I was getting us safely out of Afghanistan.
They didn't, because they said to the people in March, get out. They said that 19 times. Finally, they said, okay, we got to go. And if they were getting the military out, then, I mean, if they took the military out, how did 13 military members end up dying if they were out? Do you see?
And I'm the one that got us down to 2,000 soldiers, but we were going to keep...
Right, you were getting the military out.
Keep Bagram, not...
Yeah, but you said that you wouldn't.
Because of Afghanistan, but because it's an hour away from where China makes its nuclear weapons, and we had it...
And that would help how?
Billions and billions of dollars were...
We have satellite technology, by the way. We do keep an eye on the Chinese.
Spent many years ago building it, and we walked out at the dead of night and did leave the dogs behind, by the way. They were left behind.
Uh-huh. Some of them, yeah. Sad.
We were getting out of that. We were going to get out with dignity. And
so, this is a man who's never had a dog, by the way. Never had a dog.
Power and strength, that we weren't going to lose soldiers. We had 13 killed, many, many injured. Nobody even talks about the injured. No arms, no legs, blown to pieces.
You talk about the injured every time you tell this story.
And so sad to see. I think it was the lowest day in the history of our country, that time period, and the media barely talked about it.
Yeah, the burning down of the White House doesn't count. The Civil War, 600,000 dead Americans, doesn't count.
In the Middle East, we wanted to, and we did. We ended the endless wars. There were endless wars.
Resignation of a president. Resignation? No, not.
But we made them ending and bring in our troops. We brought them back home. Biden turned Afghanistan into truly something that nobody ever thought possible. In fact, I think Putin, when he looked at that, he said, this is the time to go in, because in my watch, he wouldn't have done it. He would have never, ever done it.
Yeah, well, you should have been reelected, so why didn't you try harder at that?
He saw the weakness. He saw the incompetence. None of this would have ever happened. 100%. Somebody said, are you sure? Well, we went through 4 years plus, if you think about it, plus a very long time where we were politicking, right? Nothing happened. 4 years, nothing.
Oh, so now you're taking credit for 2016 as well.
Not even a question about it. And I spoke to him about it. He knew how I felt. He wouldn't have done it. It's a shame. So many people being killed. The whole place is just a disaster. That whole mess, what a mess, and it should have never happened. On Tuesday, Biden's going to the Javelin factory. They build the Javelins. Remember the Javelins with tank busters? It's in a great state, Alabama. Boy, we won Alabama, too. We won Alabama so big. The same weapons that I supplied to Ukraine while...
No, you tried to stop them from going to Ukraine, and you had no power to do so. So eventually they were released and sent to Ukraine.
The Obama-Biden administration, they supplied blankets. You remember the heat I...
They didn't. That's nonsense.
I was supplying Javelins, and they were saying it was good.
No, Congress supplied the Javelins, and you tried to block them.
He gave blankets, I gave Javelins, and they were saying, like, oh, it's supposed to be good the other way. Well, it turned out that without the Javelins, there wouldn't even be anything going.
And also, the Congress forbid them from using the Javelins. So that whole mess over there happening, which has been happening for 8 years now out in Donbass, the Ukrainians were forbidden from using those javelins in Donbass. No one knows that, but that's the case.
And they were
under Trump's administration.
Remember this. I ended the pipeline. I supplied the Javelins, and I got
we covered this.
$430 billion more for NATO from these other countries that were delinquent. They weren't paying.
None of them were delinquent. It's not the way NATO works.
And then I had to listen to these people up here, the fake news, say he's been so nice.
I don't know that there's any fake news there, what he calls the fake news.
He's been so...
Oh, Newsmax is covering this now? Okay, hold on. Let's, this is Newsmax right here. Am I way behind? Hold on, there's ads on Newsmax. Let's go back to this. We'll listen to this.
Nice to Russia, Russia. You know who didn't think I was nice to Russia? Putin. He said, you're killing me on the pipeline. The people of Alabama know what's going on. When he shows up on Tuesday, the people of Alabama know. We gave it. You know, they're always trying to take what we did and trying to say, gee, they did it. It's all misinformation. Their whole party is based on misinformation. Everything from Russia, 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 that hoax, to the laptop from hell, to the impeachment hoax, #1, impeachment hoax, #2, the Mueller bullshit. It was all,
he swore.
It's all, they're a party, they are the party of misinformation. Under my
yeah, no, Newsmax isn't covering this, Marcy.
my leadership, America was strong and America was respected. Like maybe never before, we were respected.
The way that all the leaders in Europe laughed at you behind your back, the way they talked about you when you didn't go to the environmental climate meeting, the way the UN laughed at you and you thought they were laughing with you.
We were respected. Now, leaders of other countries don't even return the phone call of the President of the United States. They don't want to talk to him.
It's nonsense. It's nonsense.
They want, in many cases, nothing to do with them other than to take advantage of us. Like, we're giving $33 billion. What's Europe giving? You know, Europe
is giving a hell of a lot of money, too. But that's Ukraine taking advantage of us? That's what you're saying. Is the $33 billion to stop Russia from invading the largest country in Europe. That's them taking advantage of us, is it? Okay.
Is very affected by what's going on over there. You know what they're giving? They're giving a lot of lip service by comparison. A lot of lip service.
Okay, but
Under
we are the world's leader. That's us, the United States, America.
Trump administration, we had the greatest economy in the history.
That's it, yeah. He never changed that. So he's saying that the Ukraine is taking advantage of us by us supporting Ukraine militarily.
History of the world. There was never an economy like we had pre-COVID.
Still waiting to this day for him to say something negative about Putin. Nothing. Never will. Never will.
The China virus. And we had no inflation, and we would have kept it that way, because inflation was caused and started. Now it's a raging tiger, but it was caused and started by energy prices. You look at it.
It wasn't.
Now it's a
energy prices are part of it, but that's not it.
Raging tiger. Now you look at the food. You look at everything. Food is worse.
How about cars? Was cars started by the energy crisis? No, cars were started by a chip shortage. This is because of COVIDs.
And energy. What has gone up? Anybody buy some bacon lately? Say, no thank you, darling. They think it's a misprint. It's quadruple. They think it's a misprint. They look at the price. Oh, isn't that cute? They made a mistake.
You know, I've been looking at bacon. I haven't bought bacon in years. Bacon is like you go to a restaurant for breakfast or something and you're like, yeah, I'll take bacon with that. Bacon on burgers, to me, waste of time. I just want to taste the burger. If I want bacon, I love bacon. Don't get me wrong. I have bacon. I eat bacon. But I haven't bought bacon in forever. But when I do look at the price of bacon, maybe it's the grocery stores I go to. I don't know. Maybe I'm not buying Applewood smoked bacon. I don't know. But when I check out the price of bacon, I'm like, bacon's always been expensive. But like $3 for 12 ounces, $4 for a pound. Like I don't know. Yes, there's things that are expensive. Things are getting more expensive. There's inflation. I'm not denying that. I just don't know why everyone's on bacon. Where is everyone buying this bacon? Where are these hog prices? It's certainly not in the commodities that everything is skyrocketed, because it's not at my grocery stores.
Somebody made a mistake, David. Biden created the worst inflation in much more than 40 years, and it's going a lot higher. Get used to it.
It's 40 years. Not much more than 40 years.
It's costing families right now almost $6,000 a year. That's
specious numbers.
Bigger than any tax increase that any government, any party, anybody could ever imagine proposing.
Oh, they could imagine it.
Inflation is a disaster.
I mean, a flat tax is a huge...
First they said it was transitory.
Yeah.
Now they say it's Putin's fault. It's Putin's fault.
Parts of it, yeah.
Let's blame Putin. Why the hell not? Right? It's Putin's
fault. Can you say something negative about him, sir?
Fault. I gave you the largest tax cuts and tax reforms and regulatory reforms in history. The radical Democrats intend to impose the largest tax hike in the history of our country. If they get any of this stuff done, it'll be the largest tax increase.
Oh, thank you. Marcy sent me the C-SPAN feed. Yes, I know it's there. The trouble is we can't pause C-SPAN because it keeps going. We can watch it delayed. You guys want to just do this later?
In the history of our country, they're working feverishly to put them all back, all of those restrictions that we took off, including what you did and what I did for the farms and the farmers, where you couldn't even use your land, you couldn't even touch your land. If you had a little puddle in your land, they considered it a waterway. You say, no, darling, that's a puddle that's been there for a long time.
Has he talked yet about the farmers crying? Everyone crying at the water signing bill thing? Nobody was crying. We have the video of it. Nobody was crying.
No, that's considered a lake, and you can't do a damn thing, and they want to pile on more and more restrictions. And I'll tell you, when I signed all of that nonsense out, people really appreciated it, and the people of Nebraska appreciated it. I appreciate that.
Tell us the story about the crying. Come on.
We created 7 million.
Oh, man, he's not playing the hits today.
New jobs. That's a record. We had another record.
And then lost it all.
We had 164 million people working, achieved the largest poverty reduction in 50 years, lifted 7 million people off food stamps, lifted 10 million people off welfare.
By disqualifying 5 million of them.
Fair. Nobody's ever seen numbers like that. Nobody's ever seen it. Under Biden.
Until now, under Biden.
There are still millions fewer jobs than before the pandemic. Millions and millions, far lower than 164 million people. Way.
Okay, but record growth.
Way lower. And a lot of people, in all fairness, are just not going to go back to work.
Yeah.
Until they have to.
No.
They're not going back to work. 4 million people have not.
The boomers just hit retirement. A lot of people are never going back to work.
Return to the labor force. Real wages have declined 12 months in a row now. Think of that. Real wages have declined. They have a thing called the misery index.
And that's a problem. He's absolutely right there.
It's at the highest level ever recorded, and the economy shrank to it shrank by, think of this, 1.4% in the first quarter. Nobody's ever seen that. But you don't hear it because the fake news, these people right here, they don't want to report it. And you know, a lot of times, see the red lights on the cameras, all those cameras, a lot of times when they see I'm going there or I'm going to someplace else or I'm going to talk about the rigged and stolen election, the cameras go off. Charlie, turn off the cameras. He's going to talk.
No, they don't.
About the rigged election. Turn them off. Turn them off, Charlie. It's one.
Someone was actually there when he started talking about the fake news. As soon as the guy spun around his phone and was taping the cameras, none of the red lights went off. They don't even have tally lights anymore. Maybe one or two of them, but there were no evidence of any red lights being turned off. This is 1970s.
1.4 down. 1.4 down. You didn't see that with Trump. When COVID, we had tremendous success with therapeutics and Operation Warp Speed, which everybody said to this day was one of the most incredible things ever done by government. I rejected mandates. I rejected unscientific lockdowns. And I fought to get our children.
Quick graph. This is the employment situation according to BLS. And this is Statistica that we're looking at right here. Under Trump, 157.54 million working Americans. Currently, 159. Almost 150. Almost 160. So more Americans working now than working under Trump, even at his height.
Back into school. And I think very importantly that nobody says, I've just started saying it because it's, in fact, I'll say it's science. You know, the way they say it's science, remember?
It's probably
remember Fauci when he said, no, nobody should wear a mask. Then 3 months later, he became a radical masker. If you could wear 7, put them over your eyes, put a couple over your mouth, your nose, masks all over your...
Wow, you're looking at the feed of the audience. There's not that many people there.
Your face. But at the beginning, he said masks are no good. Importantly, I let Republican governors run their states the way they should be run without interference from the federal government, but with a lot of help from the federal government in getting ventilators and therapeutics and supplies of all shapes, sizes, and kinds to them, and without cost.
Therapeutics of all shapes and sizes. Ventilators.
We got them. We did an incredible job in getting them equipped. Remember when
Jared was in charge? of getting all the protective equipment and failed miserably?
They got credit for doing a great job. The Democrats, they get, oh, didn't he do a wonderful job in COVID? He couldn't even get tests out. Couldn't get anything out.
No, there are lots of tests out.
It's because...
By the way, don't forget, you can go to your local drugstore, and if you have insurance, look on the insurance website. But I just the other day picked up 8 more tests for this month. Every month, 8 rapid tests for your home. You want to stay safe? That's the way to do it. Test yourself. Test anyone who comes to visit. Test them. Takes 15 minutes. You're done.
They just took the credit. Disinformation, remember it. The party of disinformation, and we have to say it because almost everything they say is false.
Yeah, we're just covering this, and almost everything you've said today is false so far. We just looked at the job numbers.
By contrast, under Biden, more people died of COVID last year than in all of 2020. They failed.
Certainly, yeah. More virulent strains. Yeah, and then the vast majority of the people dying, unvaccinated. No reason for it.
On testing, they failed on therapeutics, and they imposed horrific mandates.
No, we have real therapeutics now. We have a couple of pills that decrease your chances tremendously of ending up in hospital. Plus, the vaccine push started under Biden.
Punishing lockdowns and radical mask regulations. Now, you know, they always say, oh, didn't he do wonderful? Actually, they're not saying that too much. Even these guys don't get away. You know,
what?
Didn't he do wonderful on COVID? I call it the China virus. Does anybody mind if I call it COVID? Right? You know,
does anybody mind if I call it COVID?
No, in 19...
What? If you call it the China virus?
17, they had the Spanish flu. Nobody said, gee, don't call it the Spanish flu. There was a reason it was called... Well, it's a China virus, whether we like it or not. And I was also right about Wuhan, the labs in Wuhan. I think I was right about everything.
Nope, you praised President Xi, remember?
Everything she said. I think I was right about everything, right? We were right about everything.
No, you were very, 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 very wrong.
A mess this country's in. Our country's going to hell. But we'll...
Country's okay.
Turn it around. We're going to turn it around. I just hope it's not going to be too late in some respects, because what happened in Ukraine is very dangerous. This could be a very dangerous thing for the world.
And now they're taking advantage of us. That's what I heard.
This could end up being a world war. We have incompetent people running things. It could end up being a world war. And we have 2.5 years to go. We have, fortunately, not too long to go to the midterms, but we have 2.5 years to go for the presidential election. And I never realized how important being president was until I watched what's happening now, where we have somebody that goes over to Europe.
So not while you were president? You didn't realize how important the job of being president was while you were president? Okay, cool.
And embarrasses our country. Embarrasses our country. Come here, Joe. Come here. Stand up here, Joe. Wave, Joe. Wave to the crowd, Joe. Embarrasses our country. Thankfully.
Paris is not our country. Joe's gotta go is what they're chanting.
Struck down Biden's ridiculous mask mandates in a righteous victory for America.
Some of them stood.
American freedom. Joe Biden and the radical left have turned calm into chaos, competence into incompetence.
I mean, there were the riots of 2020 when you were president, Mr. Trump.
Stability into anarchy, prosperity into poverty, and security into catastrophe. Otherwise, they're doing a fantastic job.
Insecurity.
The election was rigged and stolen, and now our country is being destroyed because of it. So,
well, if only someone was in charge when that election happened.
Such stupid decisions.
Right underneath your nose. This was on your watch, sir, and you let an election get stolen. Wow.
Are being made, including the border, including Afghanistan. We had it all set to come out. We would have come out with dignity and pride and strength. I spoke to Abdul, the leader of the Taliban. I said, Abdul, you kill.
Sir, why did you send me a picture of my house?
Any more soldiers, we're going to hit you so hard, nobody will ever be hit. Nobody will ever be hit like you're going to be hit. And he said, I understand, Your Excellency. He called me Your Excellency. We didn't lose one soldier in 18 months. Think of it. Unlike Chicago and these Democrat-run cities, we didn't lose one soldier in Afghanistan until this tragedy of the way they left, the way they got out. I'm the one that set it up to get out. I brought it down all the way down to 2,000 soldiers. They were going to stay there until we got our hostages, because I call them hostages. We have still hundreds of people in there that are American citizens. And in all fairness, some people that should be allowed to come out, some of the interpreters, etc.
Well, then why didn't you make that happen? You were president. You were in charge of that. Why didn't you make that happen?
We took hundreds of thousands of people out. 97%, it came out the other day, 97% should not have been coming out. And in that group...
What is that stat?
You have terrorists. You're going to be paying a price for a long time for what they did. 3%.
Well, so far, no.
3% of the people were entitled to come out. They rushed the airplanes.
Well, they're handing out M&Ms at the rally?
28 people fell off the side of the airplanes from 3,000 feet up. That's 3 times the
I didn't see 28 people, but okay, fine.
Height of the Empire State Building. They fell off the side of the airplanes, 28 people. This is the most dangerous time in the history of our country because of the incredible power of modern-day weaponry, which we...
3,000 feet is twice the height of the Empire State Building, not 3 times the height of the Empire State Building. The guy lives in New York. He builds skyscrapers. He should know how tall the Empire State Building is.
Totally.
I mean, it's so ridiculous. Why? Why make up some stat about the Empire State Building and the airplanes and the... Why? It was really, really bad. You don't have to lie about it.
Rebuilt, including our nuclear. Not that I wanted to. I hated to rebuild the nuclear, but we have no choice because others are doing it. Meanwhile, we have a president who has no idea what's happening, who is shaking hands with the air while Putin talks about nuclear weapons.
This guy behind him just looks confused. He does not know what's going on. He's shaking hands with something.
Weapons all the time. Nobody's ever talked about nuclear weapons. You're not supposed to talk about nuclear weapons. The N-word.
It's not Fight Club, and it's not the N-word.
I used the word. I used the term, the N-word. They went crazy. He said the N-word. I said, yeah, the nuclear word. You don't talk about the nuclear word. You just don't talk about it. It's too devastating.
You shouldn't talk about it. It's a nuclear word.
Devastating to talk about. He's throwing it around all the time because he doesn't respect our leadership. Just look at the video of Joe Biden attempting to speak last week, very tough, to Russia and Putin. Take a look at this.
That will enhance our underlying effort.
Yeah, they're going to play the clip of kleptocracy where he stumbles over the word, then he gets it right. Twice. They're not going to play when he gets it right.
To accommodate the Russian oligarchs and make sure we take their ill-begotten gains. We're going to accommodate them. We're going to seize their yachts, their luxury homes, and other ill-begotten gains of Putin's kleptocracy. Kleptocracy and the guys who are the kleptocracies. But these are bad guys.
Yeah. He gets it right once. We heard that. And then he reads the line again and gets it, nails it right on. It's a tough word to say. Just ask Dr. Oz. Boo! Boo! He can't read that word. He just made that word up. Kleptocracy is not a word.
And it got worse, but
It didn't get worse. He nailed it.
Don't have all afternoon to it.
Well, you also don't have time to show the truth.
Once and for all, Joe Biden should put the question to rest by taking a cognitive test. You have to do it and releasing the results.
Tell us about the cognitive test. Tell us about the person, woman, man, camera, TV test.
For the entire world to see. When the fake news started saying fake crap about me, I said to Doc Ronnie, who's now, as you know, Ronnie Jackson, he's a great congressman from Texas. He's so popular. He's the most popular guy you'd ever imagine. But he was a White House doctor. He was an admiral, a great admiral. He was a highly respected man. He was the doctor for Bush. He was for, let's see, he was for Bush and Obama, and he was for me. And I said, so who's the healthiest of the group? And Doc Ronnie said, oh, he likes me. He said, you are, sir. You're the perfect specimen.
Healthier than 44-year-old Obama. Yep.
He said,
you on your toravastatin drugs. You, sir, you're the healthiest.
I said, what about Obama? He's in good shape. Sir, you're the most healthy guy. I love Doc Ronnie.
Yeah, that most. Never take medical advice from someone who's a sir, you're the most healthy guy.
I love Doc Ronnie, but I said, what?
It's like part pirate who's talking to his dog. Oh, you're the best boy. You're the best boy in the whole world. You're the best boy in 1, 2, 3, possibly as high as 7 seas.
What do you think about a cognitive test, Ronnie? He said, well, you know, the problem is, you know, you're dealing with Walter Reed. It's very public. And you have other doctors watching. And if you do badly, the word's going to get out, or we'll probably have to announce it. I said, how tough is this test, Ronnie?
And he said, why are you yelling at me right now?
Because these people are calling me bad names. They calling me...
He's bragging about a test that tests for dementia. It's called the X test, by the way.
Stupid. They're stupid, Ronnie, and we got to end this bullshit.
They're the stupid ones.
So I said, how long and how tough is the test? They said, well, the first questions are easy, but when you get to the middle of the test, they're very hard.
Oh, no, they're not.
And at the end of the test, you know, a lot of people have no clue. They can't answer those questions. They're tough. It's a basically tough test. You know, it gets easy.
No clue when they're asking to put the hands on the clock. What? How could anyone do that? We took the test the other day. It's not hard.
And then it goes up.
It doesn't. It goes down.
So what do you think, Ronnie? He said, I don't know. It depends. How do you do on this?
This is a long story about the cognitive test.
Stuff. I said, okay, I do good. I do good. Smart guy. I'm actually real smart, Ronnie. Let's go, Ronnie. Let's go. So they gave me the test.
Yeah.
And he will tell you, I aced it. Every question right. And one person said, I've never seen anybody.
So you're not suffering from dementia, you're just stupid.
I aced it before. I said I aced it.
I aced it.
And they got, you know, it's really a good thing because they no longer called me stupid. You know?
No, I just did.
They no longer call me stupid. Now they say he's a...
No, but it wasn't a test for stupidity, sir. It was a test for, let's say, Alzheimer's.
Dictator who wants to take over the world. They say all sorts of other, but they don't call me stupid anymore. But I think it's something that a presidential candidate or a president should take. You know, you're representing, you see the damage caused right now by what's happening. And I think it's something that you should take. It's something you should take. And I support it wholeheartedly.
What about releasing your taxes?
That would normally be breaking news, but they won't report it. But I think everybody should take it. Everybody that even runs should take it. You should have a certain standard. You know, not to equate us with China.
Well, that's not in the Constitution, but okay. I mean, if you're going to be anti-Constitution, that's on you, man. That's okay.
But I'll tell you what, they have a very tough system. You start off all even when you're about...
What happened to if the Democrats win, they're going to make it the law that a presidential candidate has to release their taxes? What happened to that? Because I haven't heard word one in this Congress about making that happen. They should.
2 years old, and then they start taking the smarter, the smart. You get up to that thing, and I will tell you, President Xi's a very smart man, whether you like him or not. And you notice that during 4 years, he didn't attack Taiwan. Never thought of it. Now,
hasn't done it now.
Now all of a sudden, they have a lot of bombers flying over Taiwan. They're looking. I think the only thing that's going to stop him is he's going to look at the mess that Russia got themselves into, and he might say, Charles, are you doing good? Look at him. He's sitting there with that beautiful hat on.
I don't think President Xi is going to say that. Mostly because there's hardly anybody in China named Charles. But also, why? Why would he?
I'd love to wear a hat like...
Oh, he saw a hat. Oh, he was distracted by a hat. Okay.
Charles W., good man. He's been maligned. He's been maligned. He's been badly maligned.
By women accusing him of groping them, multiple women. Yeah.
And it's a shame. That's why I came out here. It would have been easier for him to say, I'm not going to come. I come out. I defend people when I know they're good. He's a good man. I came out here.
Mm-hmm. Used to hang out with Epstein. Well, I thought he was a good man.
A lot of people. I mean, this is the way David Bossie, right? This is the way it works. I mean, it's a lot of people, they say, and they look at you and they say, well, you don't have to do it, sir. You could. I have to defend my friends. I have to defend people that are good. He was with us from the beginning. I just met so many people backstage. Thank you, sir, for being here. He's been my friend for 30 years. He's the most innocent human being. He's the last person to do any of this stuff. Mm-hmm. And even the stuff they're accusing of, what did they say? He talked to somebody? He talked. It's a disgrace what they've done. It's a disgrace, and that's why I'm with you. I could have gotten out of this one real easy. I could have played golf. I could have gone to the beach. I could have done, and I'm here with Charles W.
Getting paid.
Charles W. Herbster.
The Herps, we call them.
I said, Charles, are you sure I have to come? Please, sir, I'd like it to come. It's so unfair. And his friends called me. They said, I'd like you to come because it's so unfair. And we can't let this stuff happen, you know? And by the time he clears himself, the election's over. They'll say, oh, it was right.
The Me Too movement, we can't let that happen. We can't let women accuse men of doing things, which they may or may not have done. But we can't let accusations, we can't let the legal process take place.
Right. Remember that whole thing with some very bad people when they were talking about the tax returns and they lose the election? And after the election, the guy said, well, we won the election, didn't we, even though it was totally made up. That was about a guy named, a rhino named Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney.
Mitt Romney.
Real beauty. He's a real beauty, that guy. But remember, they said all sorts of bad things about his taxes, and then he lost. He got his ass kicked, actually. He ran a horrible campaign. Remember the respect he had? He respected Obama so much. I said, why did you salute him? I mean, he was just all in for...
You know, he was a decent human being.
It's tough when you're all in for somebody that you're running against. He was all in, but they lied about his taxes. They said horrible things about his taxes.
At random, you may be a few minutes behind.
And when they went to Harry Reid, I guess it was, right? They went to Harry Reid and they said, what do you think about it? You said bad things. You lied about his taxes. He goes, we won, didn't we? That's the way they play the game, isn't it, my man? CPAC. CPAC is a great organization.
What?
We have a great gentleman here, but I'm going to introduce him. I'm not going to talk about him now because he's going to come up and maybe even say a few words. He's been great. He's been a supporter, and I want to thank all of the people from CPAC that are here right now. So that happened to a rhino named Mitt Romney, and it happens to others. Oh, by the way, it happens to me on a daily basis, all this stuff. They make up crap like nobody's ever seen. But you know what? It hasn't been so effective.
Nobody's ever seen.
Got more votes than anybody's ever gotten. Can you believe it? Any president, no president has ever gotten. With the support of all of the patriots here tonight, we saved our country.
No sitting president.
Once, and together we will save our country again. Is that right, Matt Schlapp? What do you think, Matt Schlapp? We're going to save our country again, Matt? President who will very simply put America first. And we did that. We put America first. And we had people fighting us. Remember when they first came in? We will not support America.
Right. So Biden has trouble reading kleptocracy from a teleprompter, probably the first time he'd seen the speech. And Trump, who has hung out with Mitt Romney on multiple occasions, calls him Mitt Romney. Was it Romney that he called him? Yeah, Rhino, Romney. Mitt Romney, but he's okay. That's fine.
America First. I said, you know what? Such a great name. Even if you don't support what we do, and that's what it is. It's America First. You don't say that. We're not going to support. Say, we don't support Trump. We don't support his policies. But you don't say, we will not support America First. I used to love it. They changed after about 1 week. They were getting hammered. I ran twice. I won twice and did much better the second time than I did the first. We got 12 million more votes than in 2016. And likewise, we got more votes. I just said it. I'll say it again and again and again. Than any president in the history of our country by far.
Sitting president, and I'll say it again and again and again because I've got such a small self-esteem that I have to keep badging and bursting it and pushing it and budging it until I feel good about myself.
And now we may have to do it again. We have to do it again.
Yeah, he's run 3 times. He lost the first time. You're absolutely right, Halftone.
And Joe Biden didn't get votes. He got ballots. That's all he got. He got ballots. Where the hell did they come from?
From people. They're called votes.
Where did all those ballots come from? By the millions and millions they poured in. What a hoax. The ultimate con, and they hate to talk about it. You know?
And you let it happen, sir. You were in charge, and you let it happen. How could you let this happen to America?
I don't want to talk about it. And I want you to see David Bossi's Citizens United. They did an incredible documentary on $417 million. And coming out, I guess tomorrow or the next day is Dinesh, right? Dinesh D'Souza.
Yeah.
A movie. But it's not about the movie. It's about Truth to Vote. They're coming out with their findings.
I think it's called True the Vote.
These are thousands of patriots that went around the country viewing tape. You know, all those fake, I call them the unlock boxes, not the lock. They're unlock boxes because you unlock them. I wonder what they did when they were unlocked. But I call them the unlock boxes. They have tapes of all those.
Yeah, it's called True the Vote, not Truth the Vote.
Those boxes. And these incredible women headed up by Catherine Engelbrecht, who's an incredible patriot. They went around and they looked at miles.
Shall we take a look at Catherine? Just in case any of you thought, like, maybe she's a little bit crazy. Let's just take a quick look at Catherine. There's Catherine right there. This is what Catherine looks like. So no, not at all crazy, lady. That's Catherine.
Miles and miles of tape, film tape, and they found
film?
Millions and millions
film. Film. You just call it film. Miles and miles of tape. Film. By the way, it's not film. It's tape. And in most cases, it's digital.
Looked at miles and miles of tape. Film. Tape.
Film.
And
who says film?
They found...
and they found lots of packs of dogs voting. We call them wolves. And the wolves in sheep's clothing.
Millions and millions of phony votes. And you know what's going to happen? Maybe nothing. You know, maybe nothing. Isn't it sad? The fake news doesn't want to talk about it. They don't want to talk about anything bad for the Democrats. They don't want to talk. The biggest thing they don't want to talk about, though, is the election. Because they know the result and they don't want it. It's too close. We're too close. We're not too close. We know the results, you know? The biggest lie of all is when they say, the big lie. You ever see these stories when these fakers, they write stories and they say, well, there's absolutely no proof. We got truckloads in every state.
Yeah, truckloads, though, that's not a thing.
Wisconsin. You see what's going on in Wisconsin?
Yeah.
Where they have almost
how the Supreme Court of Wisconsin threw the whole thing out? Because it's nonsense? Yeah.
100% in senior citizens facility supposedly voted, but in years past, very few people voted. You know why?
Yeah, just to get you out, sir.
They have other problems. They don't care about Trump. I don't blame them. They want to live. They can't breathe. One person came up, my mother's comatose. She hasn't been...
Comatose? Like her toes are shaped like commas? She has scoliosis.
Been able to speak for over a year. And they're saying she voted in the election. Honestly, she didn't care about the election. She has much bigger problems. But they had almost 100% of the people in Wisconsin voting.
So people in an old folks' home who may have forgotten that they cast a ballot. That seems so unlike people in old folks' homes.
And they have a man, Justice Gableman, a very highly respected man. He's fantastic. He's a
disgraced justice from Wisconsin. Yeah.
Fantastic man. And he's issued a report that's just so horrible, so damning.
Yeah.
As to,
what he's released is a report that says, hey, you need to give me more than the $600,000 you've already given me, because I'm sure there's evidence somewhere. We really need to keep this going.
Third world country, and with third world with the press too, because they're among the most dishonest people.
And they still have red tally lights.
Every sentence. I read something today in one of our main papers. Almost every...
Our main papers? Like from Maine?
Every sentence, every time they talk about the election, while nothing has been proven, while this... It's all out there. It's there.
It's not.
And this one's going to be interesting, because...
Yeah. I hope that I find some evidence. It will make it interesting. There's been a year and a half of this bitching about the election, and we've got all this evidence.
David was great, what he did with the $417 million, how it went to mostly Democrat areas, and I can't believe it's legal, David. I just can't believe it. But
and also Republican areas.
When you watch this one that's coming...
Well, I mean, it's money, it's free speech. I mean, I thought you guys were pro-First Amendment, but I guess not.
Coming out now, and I'm not necessarily talking about the movie or the documentary, but that covers it to an extent. But they have much more even than that.
Yeah.
When they release...
But for whatever reason, they didn't put it in the movies or the documentary.
Their findings next week or the week after.
What?
Millions and millions of votes. And they focused on swing states. They didn't focus on others. They probably did something there, too. The bad people, the corrupt people.
Yeah.
But the swing states were
the elections officials?
Devastating. And the information they found was devastating. And I could go over things like left and right. When you look at what happened in Detroit.
Okay. You keep saying that, but you never do.
Detroit was so bad. Philadelphia was so
nothing
bad. Atlanta.
In Philadelphia, one guy was sent away from the polls.
Was so bad. That governor did nothing. I got him in.
Because he's Republican, and because Secretary of State's Republican, and because Deputy Secretary of State, they all had no problem with the election.
And when I endorsed him, I got this guy elected. He did nothing, and one thing has nothing to do with the other. But I'll tell you what.
Oh, now you're denying there was any quid pro quo. I got you elected, so you should do something for me. Remember that phone call?
He did nothing for the people of Georgia or the people of this country. He didn't want to know about it. I think he was embarrassed.
Okay, but all 27 Republican governors did nothing. All 29 Republican secretaries of state did nothing. Why? Because their job was to certify the election, and they did their job.
Embarrassed by how bad it was, and he didn't want it down on his watch. And that's not what it's about. And frankly, if he did the right thing, it would have been a positive for him. It would have been a positive. He's like afraid of this Stacey Abrams. I don't know what the hell's going on there, but he has done such a bad job. And I hope they get out, by the way, Charles W., and vote for David Perdue. I do hope so, because he's in there fighting. He would have been a senator. I mean, except for the horrible corruption.
Except for the people who voted not to make him a senator.
You look at Fulton. Just take a look at what took place in Fulton.
Okay, but his election was a couple of months later and was the most observed election in U.S. history. For both those senators, there were lawyers crawling all over those ballots. And he lost. Even though you went out the day before and you pitched him, you endorsed him. He wasn't even there. He had COVID. But you said, you got to vote for the Republican. Save our country. This is how we're going to make America great again. You got to do it.
County. It's a horrible thing that took place. So it was all too corrupt. It's now really been proven. That's why you read the stories and you see, while there's no evidence, while Trump is a big lie, this is the big lie they call it.
Where's the evidence? You're holding a rally. You have television screens. There's nothing stopping you from showing that evidence. Produce it. Remember, your lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, said this isn't a fraud case, Your Honor.
The big lie is actually reversed. The big lie is their big lie.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'll be honest, I don't think I've ever said it before a group. It would have been very easy to lose. You lose. Somebody wins, somebody loses. What's very hard is when you get more votes than any sitting president in history by far, when if you got the same number that you got 4 years before, you win easy, they say. They said, well, if you got the same...
Who's they?
Obama got fewer votes the second time, and he won very easily. I mean, the person he was campaigning against wasn't that good, but he...
Mitt Romney?
Won very easily. I got far more votes than we got the first time. That meant, you know what that means? That I did a good job. So, honestly, when you lose...
No, the citizens got involved. And the Democrats did a fantastic job of getting out the vote.
Lose the election, you know, hey, look, you know, I gave it my best, and you say I gave...
It's a lot harder. He's right. It's really hard on him that he lost.
Gave it my best, and we worked hard.
And you're a one-term president, just like Jimmy Carter.
We lost. I would have loved to have congratulated a person that people would have said won. And if it was fact, I would have been the first one to stand up there and say he won. But it was a rigged election, and he didn't win. Not only didn't he win, he lost by a lot. And you saw it.
Okay, but there's been hand recounts. You paid for one. Well, you didn't pay for one. The Republicans paid for one in Wisconsin. And Biden still won. And every time you do a hand recount, Biden gains votes. Remember the fraud in Arizona? Biden gained votes.
So many different things where he got more votes with the African-American community than Obama. Give me a break. In certain locations, give me. It's always.
Well, that's awfully racist.
It's a very important location. You ever notice? Where so many other, I mean, just point after point, many different things. So ballot harvesting is coming out next week. That's determinative. That's election changing. But there are many other things that were also election changing. Matt Schlapp worked in Nevada, and he went in there very skeptical, and he came out and he said, man, this
sounds like a country song. Matt Schlapp worked in Nevada.
Thing was really corrupt. But we had a Democrat judge who threw the damn thing out. He didn't want to look at it. Anybody reading it would have said, wow, but you couldn't believe it, right? He became a believer then. He wasn't a believer maybe the first day or the second day, but after he saw all the evidence, he literally went there to look at it, and he studied at CPAC, and he said, man, this thing was really corrupt. But we had a judge that didn't even want to look.
Did he say that? And then he didn't share the evidence with anyone? Cool.
We had many judges without any courage. They didn't want to look.
88 judges. 88 judges. And they did look at the evidence and then dismissed the cases.
Look at it. They didn't want to talk about it.
They did. In Nevada. In Clark County in Nevada. We live streamed it. The evidence was presented by both sides. And the judge laughed. It was laughable. Oh, okay. So you got 28,000 dead people who voted. Do you have those names? No, you don't? You're just going to tell me that 28,000. You have 32,000 people who voted in multiple counties, and those people are? You don't have those names on you? Okay. You have 19 binders full of evidence, but there's no evidence?
About it, including our Supreme Court of the United States, including them.
Including the three people you put on the Supreme Court of the United States. All three of them said, no, there's no evidence here.
They did was almost 20 states filed, because listen to this system. The President of the United States doesn't have standing. I'm the President of the United States. I just went through a rigged election.
Yeah, that's not the President. Texas doesn't have standing to sue other states. That's what the Supreme Court ruled. Actually, they didn't even rule it. They just said, we're not going to hear it because it's not a thing we would hear.
And I have no standing, so I can't file.
Not you. Not you.
File a case. They say I can't file.
He could have filed a case. It doesn't stop him from filing a case.
Well,
file one now. Yeah, in fact, file a case, Donald John Trump. You have standing to file a case, see if it gets to the Supreme Court.
But the states can file. So 20 states, almost 20 states got together, headed up by Texas. A good group of people, I will tell you. And I think that Attorney General is doing very well in Texas.
What's his name, sir?
He's got his
What's his name?
race coming up in
Looking for his name now.
A very short period of time. I think he's going to do. By the way,
and his name
33-0 in Texas. I was 3 on endorsements, 33-0. And you know, if I lost one race, they'd say Trump was humiliated. That's what they're waiting for. They're waiting for one race. You know, we've endorsed Dr.
I'll take David Perdue.
Oz. We've endorsed JP, right? JD Mandel, and he's doing great. They're all.
JD Mandel? Has he endorsed? I haven't heard of a JD Mandel. Has he? I mean, there's JP, or JD Mandel. Have we heard of either of these people? Is he talking about the hillbilly eulogy guy? That's what people call it. Yeah, I know it's JD Vance. I don't know. Maybe there is a JD Mandel. Mandel? JD Mandel? Who is JD Mandel? Was he one of the Mandel sisters? JD Mandel. Let's see. There's a Dr. David Mandel. I'm not seeing any G Mandels. Let me spell it with one L. Nope. There's a lot of JD Vances. Trump has endorsed JD Vance. Let's go back and just make sure this again. These are the people that said Joe Biden is not fit for office because he couldn't read Kleptocracy the first time, then read it twice perfectly.
Doing good. For one race, you know, we've endorsed Dr. Oz. We've endorsed JP, right?
JP. We've endorsed JP. That's not his name, sir. Oh, sorry, yeah. JD Mandel.
JD Mandel, and he's doing great. They're all doing good.
Yeah.
They're all doing good.
They sure are.
Let's see what happens. But if I lose one race, we have so many races that we're...
Let's see what happens. What?
Leading by a lot. If it's like 40-2 or 40-1 or 40-3, they're going to say Trump was humiliated. He was humiliated. I think Vance is doing well. I think Oz is doing well. Does everybody like Oz? I love Oz. Who cares? I think he's going to also do better in the general election. So, you know, there are a lot of reasons to endorse people. Guys like Mitch McConnell and Rhino Friends would rather see a Democrat like Biden be president than a Republican like me. I'm a little bit different kind of a Republican. We want to get things done. It sort of works better for him and his agenda, but it doesn't work well for our country. He should have done something about all of the things that we were just talking about with the rigged election. When a thief robs a jewelry store and gets caught, they have to give the jewelry back, right? They have to give it back. They don't keep it. So here they're saying we found all of these, all of this fraud and all of these irregularities, and but we'll keep it the same. You know, they say there's no mechanism. There's no mechanism. Think of it: the election, rigged and stolen. We found out how, and the Republican leadership doesn't want to do anything about it. They say, sir,
he will stab everybody. He will betray you. That's what Michael Cohen told us. And yet the Republicans would not listen. Here he is going after the Republican leadership.
See it in a second. You're winning. You're winning in a landslide for the next one. You're doing great. You're beating the Republicans by insurmountable numbers, and you're beating Joe Biden by a lot. Think to the future, sir. And I say that you never can think totally to the future until we solve the past, because if we don't solve the past, the same thing's going to happen again, right? I mean, that's the way I look at it. So
no one says that.
The way I look at it. But watch these elections.
Destined to repeat it.
You know, when I won in Texas, 33-0, I didn't see any stories written about it, Matt. Not one story. Now, I'm sure there were a couple, you know, local papers. If I would have lost 2 or 3 of the races, and some of those races actually were, you know, they say, oh, well, they were favored. No, a lot of those races, a number of those races, I picked underdogs. I did it with the Senate. Dr. Oz was being swamped by people that have a lot of money, and they were and he was down by 10 points, and now he's up substantially. And J.D. Vance was being swamped. I think he was in 4th place, and now he's up. I didn't pick people that were sure things at all. I don't do it. I do what's right. I do what's right. And I'm picking people that are going to win the general election. The networks and the media are trying to censor us and cancel us. And what Fox is trying to do is have Trumpism without Trump. Let's do Trumpism without Trump. That was in a paper today. They said they're looking to do Trumpism without Trump. Who likes Trumpism without Trump? Does anybody, I hope?
No,
Does anybody like?
You would hope that they don't like that, because you're Trump.
Get. Okay.
What if you had Trumpism only with J.P. Mandel? What about Trumpism with J.D. Patches and the Mandel sisters?
I don't think so. I don't know. You know, it's sort of. I don't know how it's going to play,
I don't
but
know
they're
how.
working hard at it. And even the New York Times.
Or hardly working.
Said today in a major article, quote, segments featuring Fox's own reporters consistently drew lower ratings, especially if they were covering stories the audience deemed unavoidable and unfavorable to Trump. So if they took a story that was unfavorable to Trump, their ratings went down. Do I love the people? I love the people. And they love me. I love the people. What the hell? Did I give up a lot? Did I give up a lot? But nothing like this has ever happened. I have been under investigation for longer periods of time and vicious. I mean, in New York State, I have this woman. She's a total racist and horrible woman. And I have been under investigation from the day I came down the escalator with our great First Lady. And I say it loud and clear. I've had more investigations than Jesse James, Billy the Kid, and the legend.
Billy the Kid?
Alphonse.
Who's Billy the Kid? Is he related to J.D. Mandel? Could be. That's where he got his nickname.
Capone. You know Al Capone? What he had to go through was peanuts.
So these are all criminals, right?
And think of it, 5 years of this crap, and they got nothing. You know why? Millions and millions of pages of stuff. Nothing. They would have done it in 2 seconds. And it's so bad. It's so dead. They've weaponized all of that. And it's really, really amazing. But we're essentially, when you think of that New York Times quote, we're essentially like family. I protect you and you protect me. That's what's happened. This crazy Piers Morgan. Did you see that show? Piers Morgan. Thank you, sir. Piers Morgan show. You see Piers Morgan? He sort of had it. I think Piers is over the hill. He opened the show with an interview of me. I did him a favor. I didn't want to do a stupid show. It's on Fox Nation. What is Fox Nation? What is it? They're going to love me when I say.
Wasn't that interview on something that wasn't Fox Nation? I know he's got a Fox Nation program now, but wasn't that before Fox Nation or something?
What is Fox? It's on Fox Nation. He opened with great ratings when he did me. And then after my interview was finished, he bombed, and he's now down over 70%. And maybe they'll...
Well, yeah, because it's Piers Morgan and you were president of the United States.
Someday learn that maybe they should hire me as an anchor. Should I go to work as an... We'll get that greatest ready.
Yes, please.
We'll sit there and we'll riff. We'll tell it like it is, as the great Howard Cosell used to say, right? I just tell it like it is. But I didn't like the way Howard went out. Howard was angry at everybody. That was not good. But the expression, tell it like it is, that's what we do. We'll get the highest ratings in history, and I'm going to attribute it all to you, if that would ever. Can you imagine? We're going to make Donald Trump the head of Deface the Nation. You know the show in the morning, Sunday morning? I call it Deface. Face the Nation, right?
Yeah, we got that.
Meet the Press.
Yeah.
I say meet.
I call it unmeet the press.
The fake press. They're going to put...
You just add the extra fake word in there? Fox News Sunday, I call it Fox Fake News Sunday. State of the Union, I call it State of the Fake Union.
Me in charge of that. But we have some...
ABC, let's talk about press. I call it fake on ABC.
Slides that just came out from a great pollster, one of the most respected pollsters anywhere in the country. John McLaughlin, he's a real pollster. He's not somebody that different.
Do you know where you're going with this at all? He's no idea.
State says Trump is down by 15 points and you're actually winning. I said, why do you do that? Why do, like in Wisconsin, ABC News, Washington Post, they said I was down 17 points.
19.
And the fact is,
you lost. The fact is, you lost.
I won the state.
No, the fact is, you lost.
And I won it last time. They said Trump is down by 19 points, and I actually won the state.
Nope.
This time I did better.
Nope.
But they stole it. That's the nursing home story and many other stories.
The nursing home story. This is the story he tells when he's in the nursing home.
But I said to John,
he'll be flying back tonight. Nursing home Alago.
John, why do they say so much? Why don't they just say he's down 5 points, 6 points? They lose credibility.
Because it's math.
He said, no, they're not looking. They don't care about credibility. If you're down 19 points, people that love you are going to say, you know, we love our president, but Harry, let's go to a movie. Then we'll come home and we'll watch television, see how it turned out.
Because they love Trump. They're not going to vote because they love Trump. The people that love Trump are just not going to vote. That's his thinking.
But when you're down 19 points, it's just as bad as the fake.
Yeah, but you just said you won Wisconsin, so that's not the case, right?
Writers back there. When you're down 19 points, people don't vote. So we just got polls out.
But you said they did vote and you won. So that's wrong.
But I'm down 19 points and I win the state. Think of that. Can you imagine that?
No, because you just said that nobody would vote for you. Even the ones that love you. That they would go to a movie that night for some reason.
It's fake. He said they don't care. They'll do anything. They'll do anything. I said, why don't they do it, though? 5, 6, 7 points. He said, because you can win if you're down 5 points. But you can't win if you're down 19 points. So they keep.
And you didn't.
It's called voter suppression. It's a whole big thing. These polls, some of these polls are so fake. Well, look at our election. We won the election twice.
Nope.
But we won
the
election with polls that were just crazy. And we have some slides that just came out from a legitimate pollster, John McLaughlin. So take a look.
By the way, John McLaughlin is a terrible pollster.
So that's the support. You see 83 and the...
Okay, if Donald Trump ran for president again in 2024, would you support or oppose him for the Republican nomination? This is Republicans. He was up at 96% with Republicans. Now he's down at 83%.
Number I hear that's an incredible number is strongly support. Nobody has 63% strongly support. Strongly support means you could do almost anything and they'll vote for you anyway. I love those people. But 63%, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
That's amongst Republican primary voters. That's his base.
So that's a very strong poll. 83% is sort of unheard of. I said, how good is 83? Is that good? Because we had Matt Schlapp in CPAC. I was 98%. Stand up, Matt. They did a poll.
Yeah, 98%. So now he's down at 83%.
A straw poll, very respected straw poll. I came.
Straw poll. Does he even know what a straw poll is?
I'm at 98%.
Yeah, straw poll with straws and 100 of them.
% approval rating in the Republican Party. Is that right? And he's the boss of CPAC, except his wife, Mercedes is actually the real boss, but only I know that, Matt. So that's great. So 83. So I'm saying to Matt, is 83 good? Well, I just got 98% from CPAC. But they say that 83% is unheard of. And what's even more unheard of is 63% strongly support. And that's only because we did a great job. Together, we did a great job. I took care of the farmers, I'll tell you that. All right, let's go to the next one.
No good.
So this is in the Republican primary, if there was a Republican primary. And you see we're doing unbelievably. We're way up above everybody.
The same thing. Thinking ahead, this is exactly the same thing. It's just different numbers. This is for whom would you vote? 57%.
Else. Way, way, way up. Numbers that are...
That's down from 59% in September of 21.
Unprecedented.
Ron DeSantis is moving his way up that ladder. Look at that. From 2% to 15% in a year and a half. So right there, that tells you what's going on.
They say, good names, all good. No, a lot of good people. I see Liz Cheney. Oh, that would be funny.
She's gone from nothing to 1%. That's infinity better.
Oh, look, she's at 0%.
She's at 1%. He doesn't know how to read a chart.
She had 1 month where she's at 1, but generally she's Liz Cheney. Oh, that would be a dream.
She's okay. It's 422, April 22. Now it's 522. But in April she was at 1%.
Hope that happens because she's losing so badly in Wyoming. You know, Wyoming was my number.
He'll fix that with a Sharpie.
One state. I hate to say it, Nebraska. They even topped you guys. But Wyoming, and it turns out that Liz Cheney happens to be from Wyoming, and she's registering. I think, David, she's at a record low number, right? So we should be able to get rid of her. She's horrible. She's sick. She wants people to be killed in all these crazy wars that we fight where half the countries, people never even heard of the countries. They don't want us there. They don't even want us there. Let's have the next one, whatever it may be.
Can you give us something besides that? Now, the 2024 presidential election were held today. Which one of the following best describes how you would vote for blah, 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 and who did you vote for, so who? So this is, it doesn't tell us who this is. Everybody, maybe it's Republican primary. It's probably not. It's probably everybody. But he's got 50% and Biden's only got 43%. But only 37% they definitely vote for Trump.
So now, if you take a look, wow, that's fantastic. Trump, definitely 37. Look at that. So how the hell does he have?
He doesn't even know what this chart is.
43. I say the poll is inaccurate.
This is the best pollster, though, according to him.
I say it's an accurate poll. So that's
inaccurate.
Against Joe
it's
Biden,
inaccurate.
the man you just saw on tape. He gets 43%. Somebody said I'm winning. Somebody said I was up 19 points. I said, how come 19? Well, how does he get all those votes? But we're up by a lot. And what's the next one?
It's a good story. Keep
Harris.
going.
Oh, Kamala. We're only up 10 points on her. Then we had other people. They put, I think, crooked Hillary Clinton in one poll. She didn't do too well. Crooked Hillary. Do you see all the fake stuff that's coming out now? I have to say, John Durham is putting out a lot of very powerful stuff.
No, he's not.
It's very important for our country.
So, well, John Durham is just not talked about anymore at all. He'll put out a report at some point. But remember the last thing he did was something about spying. That's what it was. It was the monitoring of the website traffic coming in and out of the White House, and it turned out not to be a thing, and something that happens since Obama.
So they're great numbers. Look, we're great numbers, but in the meantime, we have a long way to go, and we have something very important. Our country is just dying with this group of people. We're dying.
And by the way, the general public completely stopped caring about that immediately because they didn't understand it, and it wasn't a thing, and so Fox stopped talking about it.
So many bad things are happening. One of our most urgent priorities when Republicans retake Congress must be to end the nightmare on the southern border, where our country is being poisoned, weakened, and permanently stained. Every day, Biden's open border agenda is getting innocent Americans absolutely slaughtered. Just weeks ago, an illegal alien was charged with savagely murdering a married couple in the prime of their life for no reason whatsoever. They were riding their bikes near their home in Daytona Beach, Florida. He stabbed them repeatedly, mutilated them, and dumped them in a field. Horrible thing. You saw this story, a big story, happening all over the country in what was described as one of the most brutal murders the police had ever seen. One of the policemen, I saw him on television, he said, I've been doing this for 20 years. I've seen horrible, horrible murders. I've never seen anything like this. They were riding their bicycle. And just last week, a heroic member of the Texas Army National Guard specialist, Bishop Evans, you read about this one too, tragically lost his life in the Rio Grande after he jumped in trying to save the lives of illegal border crossers who turned out to be not just border crossers, they turned out to be criminal alien drug smugglers with tremendous amounts of drugs. They were trafficking in drugs and illicit narcotics. He died. He died. The Biden administration's complete abolition of America's border is a crime against the citizens of our nation. It's a crime against humanity. Under the defund the police mantra, our Democrat-run cities are also being ravaged by the scourge of violent crime. Never forget, the radical left wants you to be locked in your home and take away your freedoms while they set loose dangerous criminals all over our country without bail and release.
He was not an illegal alien. He had temporary protective status as a Haitian. So, not illegal. Terrible, terrible thing. Shouldn't have done it, but not illegal.
Offenders without...
He was not an illegal alien. It's not. What he did is clearly illegal.
Charges, destroying your country, your family, and destroying your life.
This is where he goes on to teleprompter for a while here and just it's the
greatest threat to public health in our cities is not COVID. It's the Democrats' weak on crime agenda and policies. Record-setting crime is taking place with shootings and stabbings far more than COVID. In Chicago, as an example, there have been 44 people murdered and 168 people brutally shot. Many of them never will recover, compared to...
Yeah, but you took care of all that, remember?
87 deaths for COVID in the last 4 weeks. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
4 weeks.
Yeah.
Democrats are the party of crime, chaos, and death. Republicans are the part, and I think this is pretty well acknowledged. Republicans are the party.
The party of death. The Democrats are the party of death. That's pretty well acknowledged. Okay.
Party of law, order.
And I think we can all agree on that. I think even the Democrats say they're the party of death.
And life. We must elect strong, tough, America First Republicans at every single level. Right here in Nebraska, you have the chance to elect a die-hard MAGA champion as your governor, a man who's been with us from the very, very beginning. One of the reasons I'm here right now, Charles W. Herbster. I first got to know Charles when he was one of my earliest supporters and made him the chair of my Agriculture Advisory Committee of 2016. I'll tell you, he did a great job. He did a great job. He was so into it. He wanted to help the farmer. As a fifth-generation Nebraska farmer and rancher who really knows his business, he had great careers in business and other things. Everything he did was successful. No one will fight for this state harder than Charles. He's a person that happens to love the state of Nebraska. Most importantly, Charles W. Herbster will never bend to the rhinos, the media, or the radical left. That's why they're doing everything they can to stop him. Malicious charges to derail him long enough that the election can go by before the proper defense can be put forward. But he's already got the proper defense. He doesn't even know about this stuff. That's the proper defense.
Okay,
Charles is a fine man.
You've been accused twice by women of groping them at the same event, by the way, where somebody said you had a little bit too much to drink. But the proper defense is, I don't know anything about that.
And he's innocent of these despicable charges. By the way, Charles...
Well, he is until proven guilty.
Welcome to politics. Nice business, isn't it? You know, after I won the election in 16, friends of mine, tough guys, business people, I used to think these were the toughest people. These guys were tough. They're from New York, real estate guys.
They cried?
I used to go around and say, oh, these businessmen are the toughest, and women. And I said, oh, no. Then they asked me about 2 years when they had all the different hoaxes.
What? That's the story? I used to think they were the toughest businessmen and women. And then, oh, no. Okay.
Came up, Russia, Russia, Russia. Turned out to be a fake story. Think of it. It's a fake story. And they have it now as a fake. And people are being indicted all over the place. They made up the story. I kept saying, people would say to me during the campaign, sir,
I really need to use your restroom. None of them are working on Air Force One.
You know anything about Russia?
Somebody flushed them 10 times each, and that's the limit on an airplane.
I'd say
there's full of all the Johns on the plane are full of documents, and they've all been ripped apart, sir. All you see is classified, and the toilets are jammed. Can we just use, sir?
No, not much. Why? Well, I don't know. There's a lot of rumors going. Dave Bossy would come up. Sir,
I really need to use it, sir. I swear to God, I'll be out in 1 minute. You can time me.
Do you know anything about Russia? And
like this? This is how he uses his phone? Sir! Because he's also a pirate. Sir, do you know anything about Russia?
This is during the campaign, right? And I'd say, I can tell you where it is, Dave. I don't know too much about it. You know, I thought it was just an innocent question. But after you get asked a question like 7 times, and young people would come up, Matt Schlepp called me, asked me a question. Sir,
Matt Schlepp
what do you know about Russia?
He said, Mr. President!
I'm saying, what the hell is going on with Russia? It was a fake story that was put out there, and they wouldn't go away. We wasted 2 years on that fake story.
Did you? You wasted 2 years? I understood it made it very hard for you to have communication with Russia. It was more than 2 years before you got your soccer ball.
And now we caught them, and we caught them in the act.
Russia?
And they should pay a price for that. It's a terrible thing.
Okay.
Your state is very poorly...
So who did we catch? There's one guy named Kevin they did catch.
Represented by a grand...
And he's pled guilty, so he's no longer working for the FBI.
Standing little...
But it had nothing to do with the actual Russia case.
Respected senator called Little Ben Sass, he's bad news, who's an embarrassment to the people of Nebraska. He's a total embarrassment. This guy started off, this Little Ben Sass, he's a lightweight. He started off so nasty to me. I won the presidency, and I met with the 52 at the time senators, and everybody was nice. I helped McConnell get elected. Without me, McConnell would have lost, by the way. And I helped numerous of them get elected. But this Little Ben Sass asked me a question. What do you know about the military? I said, what do I know about it? Just got elected president. It's a nasty question. He said this in front of 52 Republicans, David. You never even heard that.
He said this?
Never told this. He said this in... I said, what do I know about it? Just got elected president. It's a nasty question. He said this in front of 52 know about it. Just got elected president. It's a nasty question. He said this in front of
He said this? S-A-Y-E-D?
52 Republicans, David. You never even heard that. I've never told this, I don't think. But this little wise guy, well, what do you know about this?
He's 5'10", by the way.
What do you know about health care? You've never done it before. I just got elected president. I said, who is that little guy back there?
He's 5'10". I
said, I never saw him before. They said, his name is Ben Sass. Ben Sass, he's from Nebraska. I said, he's a fresh son of a bitch, isn't he, though? Oh, he's like grilling me. I said, you're a nasty guy. You know that, right? Well, I'm just saying, and then he was very bad for a year. Then all of a sudden, the people started to speak. He said he was going down the tubes. So Lindsey Graham, Ted Cruz, and some others came over, and they said, he'd love to meet you. Would you be willing to meet him? I said, I really don't want to meet him. But anyway, he came over to the White House. He was groveling.
He's saying that after he got elected, he's like, who the hell is this Ben Sass guy? On January 29th of 2016, an entire year before he took office, he tweeted about Ben Sass. Ben Sass looks more like a gym rat than a U.S. senator. How the hell did he ever get elected? He knew exactly who Ben Sass was. And, for some reason, critiqued his body.
Groveling.
Weird?
Because you were letting him know.
Because he worked out a lot.
That he was not long for this world, and he apologized, and he could not have been nicer for 2 years, okay? And then it came time to endorse, and I didn't really want to endorse him because that first year was horrible with that little wise guy. And he was like a gnat, you know?
January 29th, 2016 again. The great state of Nebraska can do much better than Ben Sass is your senator. He knows who Ben Sass was.
Get him off. Get him off my ass. But he was fine. He was fine, and he was okay. And so Lindsey and Ted Cruz came over and said,
I didn't even realize this. His first nickname for Ted Cruz was Canada Ted, which hurts me.
Some others were talking to, would you endorse him? Would you endorse him? He's going to be good. Would you endorse him? He was begging for the endorsement. And, you know, the head of your Republican Party is not a fan of this guy. And he called me, he said, after the fact, he said, I wish you would have told us you couldn't stand this guy. We would have run somebody against him. We would have won. I said, well, I wish I would have done that. And frankly, I wish I would have done it to Mitch McConnell also, because we would have won in Kentucky. But we didn't. So they treat you nice, and then you give him an endorsement, and then he won. And the day after he won, remember this? He came out. Trump should not have removed troops from Germany. We had 54,000 troops in Germany. They're delinquent on their payments to NATO. They're paying half what they should be paying. We're defending them. They screw us on cars. I mean, when was the last time they sold a Chevrolet? I asked Angela. When was the last time, to the best of your knowledge, Angela, when was the last time you sold a Chevrolet in Munich? When was the last time in Berlin we sold a Ford? Well, I don't know. I can tell you.
I do. Ford is the number 4 selling car in Germany. Chevrolet, they don't really have a presence, but Ford does very, very well in Germany.
It didn't happen for many years, unless it's in a museum, maybe a museum from many years ago. And yet they sell Mercedes-Benz, and BMW, and Volkswagen by the millions and millions. They don't take our farm product, Europe. You know, Europe is not much better than...
They also have plants here in the United States providing American jobs. So they do that as well.
China was on trade. So I went down and I said, you know, we have 54,000 soldiers over in Germany. That's a lot of soldiers. That's like a city. And they make a fortune because the soldiers get paid and they go out and they buy in the stores and they...
The soldiers make a fortune. Oh, Germany makes a fortune. Okay.
Do all this stuff. And they didn't treat us right. They haven't treated it. They've been very bad on trade. So I said, we're going to remove 25,000 soldiers from Germany. And, you know, just remove 25. And Angela went crazy because, you know, economically it's very good for Germany. And I did that. And then Ben Sass comes the day after the election, and he starts criticizing me and removing soldiers from Germany. And, you know, Germany's going to be just fine. They're going to be just fine. But I'll never forget it. The guy wins his election, and then he hits me. So little Ben Sass is bad news. Another one that I think is bad news is your guy Don Bacon. I think he's bad news. And I hope you vote like hell against that guy. He's bad news. He's always chirping in the background, never constructive. Just a...
Is that who's the governor of... No, it's not Don Bacon. I don't know who Don Bacon is.
Another wise guy like little Ben Sass.
Is he like J.D. Mandel?
And I wish I would have known your Republican chairman. He was very good. He was great. He said, you know, if you would have told us. I said, no, you should have told me. I wish you told me. I said, did you have anybody? He said, no, but we...
Oh, congressperson representing Nebraska's 2nd District. Okay.
We would have had somebody, and they would have beaten Ben Sass. With Don Bacon, I think it would have been the same. Actually, you have a gentleman running. I think he's here, right? Right? You know, I was taking pictures backstage, and he's a nice guy. Keel, Steve Keel, he's a nice guy. Now, I don't know Steve. I don't know Steve. Where's Steve Keel? Well, hi, Steve. How are you? No, he gave me his nice card. He's a beautiful wife, wonderful wife. She loves him so much. She's like, tears are coming down her eyes. He loves Nebraska. He loves Nebraska. Steve Keel. It's pronounced Keel, but it's spelled K-U-E-H-L. How the hell did you get Keel out of that one, right? But he's just a really nice guy, and I just met him, and, you know, I have no idea how he's going to do. Bacon's been there for a long time. But he's just he's not good. So I'm not endorsing one way or the other. I know nothing, but I've heard great things that Steve is a high-quality guy who loves the estate. I think Bacon's a bad guy, you know? I mean, he's a bad guy.
Don't know him, but he's a high-quality guy.
But I wish him all well, and I think Steve will probably do a lot better than people would anticipate, and I hear he's working very hard. So good luck. Good luck, Steve, whoever the hell you are. Okay? And now his wife is happy. I wanted to make her stop crying. I wanted to stand up, wife. I wanted to make her stop crying, and now she's happy as hell. That's good. With your vote for Charles this primary, you can give a stinging rebuke to the rhinos and the sellouts and the losers. And you got a bunch of losers. And you could put an authentic America First warrior and somebody that's going to do well in your negotiations with foreign countries who take advantage of Nebraska and every place else.
Oh, he's one of the... Don Bacon is one of the guys who voted on impeachment for Trump. That's why Trump's after him. Knows nothing about this other guy. This is just vengeance.
With Charles, not going to be taking advantage, I can tell you that much right now. He may be actually too aggressive. If you don't like him being too aggressive, you probably shouldn't vote for him. So but he's being too aggressive.
We're at least a half an hour from the end, and he's still going.
For you, remember that. But he's a very successful person in business life and in other things, and I'd like to have him come up. He's really somebody that's been put through a grinder, and it's very unfair. He's a high-quality person. Charles, come on up.
America. With
voting is already underway. And the primary, as you know, is on May 10th. And I think Charles is going to do very well. And if he does, you'll be very happy, and you're going to have an even more prosperous state. We've made it very prosperous. And I really think he's going to do just a fantastic...
Really? Because Biden's been in charge for the last 16 months, and the country's been destroyed. Remember? You're here to save America. But somehow Nebraska's very prosperous? Doesn't make any sense to me.
Job. And if I didn't feel that, I wouldn't be here. And it's not even about the friendship. I do have a feeling because he was right there, right at the beginning. He was able to predict it, but he's going to do a fantastic job. So get out and vote for Charles W. Herbster. We're also joined by a man from another state, a great state, a place that I love and that I've had tremendous success there also. It's the state of Missouri, and this gentleman is Congressman Billy Long. Do you know that? Do you know Billy? Billy, stand up. Billy. Thank you very much. Another longtime friend of mine, and David, I think you were complained. They said, look, it's tough. Well, I was negotiating because China was essentially not doing what they should do. And they were boycotting, and they weren't buying anything. They thought they were going to force me out, that I'd lose the farm support. And it was just the opposite. The farmers stood with me. I don't know if you know about this, David. They stood with me. I was in the White House, so we had 35 farmers come in. I said, I'm going to get you so much money. I'm going to take care of you in so many different ways, including from China. And we're going to do some subsidy to the farmers. And 3 of them looked at me, sir, we don't want subsidy. We just want a level playing field. I said, you got to be kidding me. That's the first time I've ever heard anyone say that. Everyone wants to get, they just want freebies. The only one that ever said that to me were the farmers. We don't want subsidies. Just give us a...
The only people, not one. There were 3 of them. You just said there were 3 of them.
Level playing field. So I gave...
The only ones?
Gave them more than a level playing field. I gave them...
Then that's not a level playing field. So you didn't give them what they asked for. Yay!
I gave them a level playing field that looked like this. It was a glide scope, but they were incredible. I've never forgotten that statement because usually when they come in, they all want money. They want something, whatever it is, every group, they want money. And if I call it subsidy, if I call it whatever, they want it. The farmers didn't want it. I'll never forget it. They were virtually unanimous. 35 great farmers, good people. Some are friends of mine now. But they said, we don't want that, sir. We just want a level playing field. But I gave the farmers, as you know, many of you are our beneficiaries $28 billion because that's what China did.
Yeah, a glide scope is a device used in medical procedures to give morbidly obese people the ability to breathe. It goes down your throat and opens up your throat. So, yeah, here's your glide scope, farmers.
To hurt you for 2 years, and the farmers stood with me all the time, and I love the farmers. Love the farmers. But you remember my line? I said, listen, we're going through a negotiation. They want to win, so they stopped buying from our country. Remember that? I said, don't worry about it. Stick with me, and you'll have to do one thing. What? You'll have to buy bigger land, more acreage, and you'll have to get bigger tractors, right? So I said, you'll need more land and bigger tractors. And I'm looking at that one. That's a pretty big one, right? That's pretty big. John Deere. I'll tell you, John Deere likes us a lot. That I can tell you. Sold plenty of big tractors. We then secured a deal that
Is it just me, or did he talk about boycotting John Deere at some point?
Included the largest agricultural purchase and orders in the history of our country. China made the biggest deal after we waited, and we had a 1.5 year negotiation, and the farmers, you know, they were being hurt, but I said, I'll take care of it. A couple of farmers I watched on one of the shows, a guy said, you know, I'm being hurt badly. I don't even know if I'm going to make it, but the president's doing the right thing. You got to stop what they're doing to our country. They were ripping us off, but we made a great deal. To save family farms, we virtually eliminated the unfair estate tax or the death tax on your farms. So if you had good children, you want to leave the farm. If you have crappy children, to hell with them. Don't give them anything. True. We used to talk about it. We got rid of the estate tax on your farm. So now instead of, you know what used to happen before me, because it's not that liquid a business. It's like other things. It's a good business, but it's not that liquid. You have a valuable farm, but it doesn't throw off the kind of money, the value's there. So what I did is I said, we got to do something, because people are losing their farms because of estate tax. It would be valued high, but it didn't make enough money, and they'd leave it to the kids, and the kids would look up and say, Mom and Dad, what the hell did you leave me this farm for? Now they don't have estate tax, essentially, unless it's a very large place. They don't have estate tax to pay, and a lot of people understood that. That was a hard one to get.
No. He owns John Deere stock, is what he's bragged about before. Okay.
They're trying to change that around. The Democrats want to change that around, by the way, but that's done by Congress. We got that approved with the tax bill.
Bragged back in 2016 that he spent millions and millions of dollars on John Deere.
I stood
that he's their best customer.
Up for ethanol and Nebraska ethanol and authorized ethanol producers to sell E15 and all year around, not 8 months. That was the craziest thing.
Okay, well, Biden just increased the amount of E15 that we're selling. So, you guys, you're like 2 peas and an apple.
They were selling it for 8 months. Said, what about a little bit more than that? But we have E15 all year round. And we cut regulations so filling stations could distribute higher ethanol gasoline from existing pumps. You remember what? It was going to be
higher ethanol gas leak?
So much money to
that's what the closed caption guy heard too.
Change the pumps. They had to get brand new pumps. I said, remember what? It was distribute higher ethanol gas leak from existing pumps.
Just lazy, but yeah, I don't think he says leak.
You remember what? It was going to be
That's the computer, by the way. The computer is doing the closed captions.
So much money to change the pumps. They had to get brand new pumps. I said, what's the difference? There is none, sir. So why are they doing this? I don't know. I think it's called torture. And we let them use the existing pumps, and that's all been done. We fought for Nebraska, and we won for Nebraska. And when we win this November, we will fight and win for Nebraska once again, and we will keep winning for Nebraska. And that means other farm states also, and frankly, it means other states, period, whether it's farms or not. I treated Nebraska really well, and likewise, Nebraska treated me really well, and I appreciate it. One of our top priorities must be to defend parents' rights. You see what's going on. No teacher should ever be allowed to teach transgender to our children without parental consent.
To teach transgender. The hell does that even mean, to teach transgender? Oh, the Blacks for Trump's website is just a mess of racist, anti-Semitic, Cherokee Nation Pocahontas. Yeah, it's just crazy time.
Those days will soon be over. We will save our kids, and we will also keep men out of women's sports. Is that okay, right?
Look at outside of there. Yeah!
I feel so sorry. The women, you know, they had a record, a swimming record. You know this, a record that lasted for 11 years. And you had one really great woman swimmer, a young woman who wanted to break it. She's a top star, and she thought she could break it by 1/8 of a second. She's gonna do it. And then this dude came in and he swam. He broke the record by 38 seconds, right?
Nope. The athlete who won beat the second place athlete by 38 seconds. Did not break the record by 38 seconds. So when you say right, you're wrong.
38. In fact, she said she was almost injured. She got injured by the wind of him going by her in the pool.
Now,
the wind. She got windburn.
In the pool.
But the best of the weightlifting records, those are the ones I like. This woman, I think it was 208, but whatever it was. And she was great. Strong. I wouldn't want to mess with her. She was strong. And, you know, they take like a half an ounce and they put it on the ends. She's got...
It's kilograms.
I think it was an 18-year record or some ridiculous time. Didn't make it. This guy comes along. Pink. Could have stood there all day. I think he broke it by, was it over 100 pounds?
Only the crazy guy is really laughing. Everyone else is just kind of like, what the hell is he saying? This is a really dumb story. But this guy, Crazy Man Blacks for Trump's 2020.com, this guy just finds it hilarious. And he gets behind. You wonder how he gets behind Trump so often, on camera so often? Because he's the only minority there. And they're like, you, come on, you're going back behind.
Or something like that. So they were going for 1/8. I think they put 1/8 of it. That's right. They added 1/4 of an ounce to the barbells.
He's just making this up.
And she couldn't quite make it. She'll make it someday. Problem is, they're going to have a hard time breaking these new records, because these new records, I'll tell you what, I hate to say this to women, and I don't want to disrespect you, and it's a horrible thing, and the fake news will say, what a horrible thing. Look, they're all standing there. Oh, finally, we're waiting. They're waiting for a tidbit. But if I were a basketball coach...
Look at, Blacks for Trump guy. They're waiting for a tidbit.
I would have 5 men.
Look at him having the time of his life. Look at this guy over here. What the hell is going on? She's just, I don't know, chewing her nails. This one's just staring blankly into space. This guy's still like, what is happening
And
up
on
here?
my team, I swear to you.
What happened here?
Because I want to win. I'll get the toughest, tallest, strongest men in history that want to go into the women's sphere. And I will have the greatest basketball team in the history of our world. I'll say to LeBron James, who I don't like very much, I'll say, LeBron, did you ever have thoughts of going woman? Because if you did, I'd like to have you on my basketball team. It's true. It's true. Okay, let's get on with it. In addition, we get critical race theory out of our schools, out of our military, and out of every part of our federal, state, and local governments. The radical left Democrat Party is...
Look at all these empty chairs. Look at them. People have taken off. People are sitting down. Where even is he? Oh, there he is right there. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm on the wrong screen. See the empty chairs here. Empty chairs, and empty tables. Side bleachers, not very full, not up at top. Lots of empty chairs. No, they're just standing right there. They want to be able to see. But, yeah. And I guess these folks are standing here. I can't tell whether they got chairs or not. But not a ton of people there. Not as far as the eye can see.
It's not a 50% party within our country. I'm telling you. They're not a 50%. They cheat on elections.
Biden doesn't have these rallies. What the hell are these rallies even for?
They're not a 50-50 party. They're against God. They're against guns. They're against oil. They're against law enforcement. Defund the police. How stupid is that?
Biden just released a bunch of oil. Biden just said that if the oil companies don't use the leases that they have, they're going to lose them. I don't know how that's against oil.
They're against voter ID, even Democrats.
Nope. Nope, they are not against voter ID. Voter ID is part of the Democrats' proposal. The Democrats' proposal.
Democrats vote 87% for voter ID. They're against...
Yeah. Yeah. They do. Except it might not be 87%, whatever it is. But that's part of the proposed law. That's part of HB 1.
It's the Constitution, and they're against our founding fathers.
Not against the Constitution.
That's not a 50% party. The only way they win is to cheat. I believe this. Now, some people can dispute it.
Biden doesn't have these rallies. Like, there's no reason to have these rallies.
Cheat.
I mean, he didn't have rallies before the election, and he won. So he doesn't have to have the rallies. What would be the point? It's just Trump up there stroking his ego, telling him stories about himself. Reminds me of like a drunk grandfather. In my day, I ran and I won, even though the cheaters said I didn't win, but I won. I really won. That's why I'm the winner. You look around. I am the winner. I have an airplane.
In the elections, and they cheat now like never before. And these ballots, these paper ballots that are being sent out by the millions and millions.
Those are ballots. Ballots are made of paper, yeah.
You'll never, ever be able to control it, whether it's...
Well, I mean, Washington has controlled it for years. Oregon, a couple of decades. Utah. You're not going to find a redder state than Utah. They vote all by mail. Hawaii votes all by mail. Colorado votes all by mail. Somehow they managed to control it. And you're not accusing any of those states of voter fraud. None of your audits have taken place in any of those states where every single ballot is by mail. So maybe that's not the problem.
Postmen or women, and you know, both ways, whether it's postmen.
I don't want male post people being able to compete with the female post people for taking in the ballots and harvesting them. That's where it's wrong.
And they tend to be very Democrat. They tend to be. That's the way it is.
No, I'm being drunk grandfather right now. I'm making fun of I'm being a drunk grandfather. Drunk grandfather's slur. The thing is, though, you open yourself up to any kind of fun making when you make fun, when you point out. He showed the video of Biden screwing up and then Biden read kleptocracy again and nailed it. Then he read kleptocracy again and he nailed it. So yeah, I have no problem slurring because I'm doing a drunk grandfather, and drunk people slur. You should start listening to what I say instead of just mindless accusations. It'll make it more fun for both of us.
It is, for whatever reason.
Yeah, I've 2,000 Mules isn't out yet. But believe me, 2,000 Mules will prove nothing. 100% mail led to voter fraud. There will be some examples of voter fraud. Many examples of voter fraud have been found in the country. There always are. But they are exceedingly rare, and they do not affect the outcome of the election at all. I know some of the science behind 2,000 Mules, and it's ridiculous. Oh, look at these cell phones. They went to the polling places several times during the day. Yeah, that's because there are people hired to drive people to the polls, people who can't get to the polls otherwise. That's why Uber and Lyft give free rides to the polls. So yeah, an Uber driver might go to the polls 8, 10, 12, 15 times in a day. That doesn't mean he's a mule and that he's voting every one of those times. There's no evidence. It's nonsense.
They tend to be very Democrat or any other ways. And the ballot harvesting, which is totally...
What videos, Louis? Because I've watched dozens of these videos and they don't prove anything.
Illegal, what they do with ballot...
It has to do with the definition of proof. Proof is something that shows you something and it's fact. But just saying, look, that woman has 4 ballots in her hand, where it's completely legal to have 4 ballots in your hand. Look, she's voting, she's black, and she's voting with 4 ballots. Okay, if she's got a mom and dad living at home, plus herself and a husband, or brother or sister, perfectly legal. Perfectly legal. depending on the state. This was one of these this stacks of ballots that she had in her hand. It was four ballots.
Ballot harvesting. If you, and I said this before the election, and we...
I'm waiting to see next week. The entire Trump presidency has been a series of just you waits. And we're all still waiting. And Trump is doing a rally in Nebraska.
We saw it in New York. They had some small elections in New York where they had mail-in ballots, and they still don't know what the hell.
Yeah, this is the D'Souza movie. Now it's about Zuckerberg. Zuckerberg swung the election. That's what they're saying.
Happened, and that was a small congressional election. They had an election in New Jersey, a ballot election, before the presidential election. And to this day, they have no idea what the hell happened.
But no, they do. A guy's been convicted. The guy tried to cheat the system. He's been convicted. He's not the mayor. He lost because he tried to cheat. It's really, really easy to catch people voting illegally with mail-in ballots because they know where you live.
You know, you take California. I think we do much better in California. You know, they all say that you lose automatically by millions of votes. I don't believe that. I went to California, did just one rally because I was told don't go to California. Right. I never saw a crowd like that. This crowd was massive, massive. They sent out...
Never saw a crowd like that. But you've made claims of having the largest crowd on record in Texas, but you've never seen one like the one in California.
Millions and millions and millions of ballots.
Yeah.
Many people got 2, 3, 4, 5.
Nope.
The highest I heard was 9.
Yep. Did they vote with that? You heard it though. As long as you heard it, then that must be true. Did you hear it from Blacks for Trump guy? God's to God.
But they got many, many ballots. I don't believe California is not a winnable state. I think if you had a fair election, I think it's a very winnable state. I think we have a lot of winnable states. I don't think they'd...
But you didn't win them.
Win at all if we had fair elections. That's why one of the highest priorities for Congress will...
Yeah, the economy, the stats we had at the time, Louis, shows that the economy is booming. That's what I said, and I stand by that. At that time, that was absolutely true. The economy is still booming. You'll see what happens. The reason, well, maybe you know something. Maybe you're doing some, okay, hold on. Now we have 1.4% shrinkage on the economy, 8.5 consumer price index year over year. That's inflation, yeah. Producer price index, right. Tell me why we have the 1.4% shrinkage. Tell me why. I want now you're copy and pasting that. I know it's called data. I know that. Tell me why. Why is there the 1.4% shrinkage? Go out and look up what consumer spending is at, and that's after inflation. Go out and look and see what business spending is. That's after inflation. Go out and look, and then tell me why we had the 1.4%. This is preliminary data, by the way. This will be adjusted. Go out and take a look.
Be to crack down on the...
We don't have stagflation. That's not what's happening, Louis.
The left wing, these are Republicans that want to do it. Guys like Jim Jordan, who's fantastic.
No, Louis. Do what I said here because I'm trying to help you learn something. Tell me why we had the negative 1.4%. Tell me where that number comes from. There were a lot of positives. I just gave you some of them. Tell me where the negative comes from.
And others. Jim Banks. We've got a lot of great people in Congress.
Hey, it's not just me. Look at what the stock market did that day. Up 700, 800 points. It's not just me. No, I want you to... You're not going to believe me, Louis. That's the problem. I'm trying to teach you how to fish. I don't want you just to eat tonight. Go out, read some papers. There's a lot of data on it. Go back. I don't know if you can access your television programs from back on that day, the day that it was announced that it's negative 1.4. Go watch some actual economists. Get away from Fox News. Get away from Newsmax or whatever it is you're watching. No, I'm not going to tell you. I want you to go out and figure it out. Oh, no, I haven't got a clue. I haven't got a clue that consumer spending was up 2.5%. I just don't know that. I don't know that business spending was up almost 9%. I don't know that. No, because you're not going to believe me, Samuel. You're going to come back in here and argue with me. Go out and find out why. It's a technicality. Go and find that technicality. Go actually look at the numbers, and you're going to see one number that brought everything else down. And then take a look at why that is.
Just think of it for the impeachment.
Oh, Oh, see what you did now? Now we can't watch the end of it. All right, let's don't call him Little Louie. First off, that's a Trump insult. And there's no reason to insult the guy. He's trying. Let's go to C-SPAN and see if we can watch the end of it here. C-SPAN, and yeah, we know what the ending's going to be, but let's go to it now because it's over. We know that for sure. I don't know how much time was left. 21 minutes. No, we're not going to. Okay, hold on. I can tell you that's a 7 minutes. 20. Well, there might be like 15 minutes left. Let's see if we can figure it out. Oh, almost 2 hours of coverage. Here's an ad. Whoa, can't watch that. I don't know why they're advertising robotics to me, but let's just jump in here, see what happens. Oh, stop. Okay, wait, way off. So he didn't speak for that long.
Agree to remain in Mexico, then we're going to charge you tariffs on all those cars.
Okay.
Charles W. Hester in the governor's allowed to have. It does not belong to them. This nation belongs to you.
We'll just start here. Why not?
This is your home. This is your heritage, and our American liberty is your God-given right. I'm not going to take it.
I'm getting echo in both ears. That's just the feed. That's not what's happening. But this C-SPAN's audio is that. What I do is I take that and I shrink it down to one speaker for you guys. So it shouldn't be too bad for you. But if it's not, if you're unable to listen to it, let me know. Yeah, Louis, don't forget to like or thumbs down the stream. Either way helps.
From Lincoln to Omaha, from Norfolk to Hastings, and from Grand Island.
It's pretty bad. I'll let you guys call it if we want to. This is just, he's just going to be reading the end here. We will make America proud again. Well, Stephanie can listen to it, so we'll just, everybody else can leave. It's just me and you, Steph.
To right here in Greenwood, you inherit the legacy of generations of great Nebraska patriots. It's a great state and great people. You built America, who gave their blood, sweat, and tears to their country that they love so much. We stand on the shoulders of American heroes who crossed the oceans, settled the continent, tamed the wilderness, laid down the railroads, raised up those skyscrapers, won 2 world wars, defeated fascism and communism, and made America the single greatest nation in the history of the world. It was hard-working patriots like you who built this country, and it is hard-working patriots like you who are going to save our country from the most horrible...
Well, I mean, I'm not really sure if we can classify slaves as hard-working American patriots. They weren't American citizens, and they didn't want to be here. In fact, they were classified as property. Were they hard-working? Oh, most definitely. But saying that hard-working patriots built the country, let's not forget them. I know, maybe that's CRT. Maybe that's just not Trump correct. But that's a fact of the matter.
Things that are right now happening. We're going to fight for America like no one has ever fought before.
Yeah, no one has ever fought before.
Stand up to the radical left lunatics and the rhinos, and we will preserve, protect, and defend the heritage that has been so brilliantly forged over nearly 250 years. Think of that. There's no...
No, it's way more than 250 years. The country's been around almost 250 years, but the heritage goes back long before that.
Mountain we cannot climb. There is no summit we cannot reach.
That's the same thing.
There is no...
That's exactly the same thing.
Challenge we cannot beat. There is no victory we cannot have. We will not bend. We will not break. We will not yield.
Well, I mean, the election was a victory that you couldn't have, so, I mean, there's that.
We will never give in. We will never give up. We will never
surrender.
Back down.
Surrender.
As long as we are confident and united, the tyrants we are fighting do not even stand a chance. Because we are Americans, and Americans need...
What tyrants? Are we talking about Putin?
Yield to God and to God alone. My fellow citizens, this incredible journey that we've been on together has only just begun.
It's time to start talking about greatness for our country again. We don't talk about greatness. We talk about everything. We don't talk about greatness.
Wait a minute. We don't talk about everything because you just spent this entire 2 hours talking about things we don't talk about. So if we talk about everything, then we talk about everything except the whole greatness thing. This is what you said. I mean, these are your words. I'm not trying to put words in your mouth. You said it multiple times.
Great by talking about other things. We are one movement, one people, one family, and one...
Oh, I'll watch 2,000 Mules, Louis. I'm not going to pay for it, though.
One glorious nation.
I think it's like $30 on pay-per-view or something ridiculous. That's how Dinesh makes his money. By deception.
And we're never taking the name God out. We are not taking it out. They want God. They want God taken out. They want God removed.
From what?
So with the help of everyone here today and citizens all across...
Remember that? Remember the outrage? The controversy? Oh, the Democrats didn't say God in the Pledge of Allegiance at the DNC. And then all 4 nights they actually said God in the Pledge of Allegiance in the DNC. There were a couple of meetings where someone didn't say the Pledge of Allegiance. They didn't take God out. They just didn't say the Pledge of Allegiance. One where they actually did say it without God, one person. But every Democrat wants to kill God as he stands. And then all 4 nights they said it.
Across our land, we will make
the Democrats aren't willing to talk about violence in Democrat cities. And then the first thing they showed at the DNC was a 7.5-minute video about gun violence.
Powerful again. We will make America wealthy again.
Wealthy!
We will make
America strong again. Yes? Proud?
We will make
America
proud
yes!
again.
We
will
safe!
make
Safe!
America safe
Yes!
again.
Come on, and here it is. We will make America craft dinner again. Oh, God damn it. God, so close. So close. And so hungry. I thought I would get them all. Damn it. I could taste them. I could taste them. I could taste victory, and I could taste macaroni and cheese on the tip of my tongue. And I blew it. Oh, my life is a nightmare. Continuous nightmare. Me and Mitt Romney. We just sad. Mitt Romney. It just gets more and more pathetic. Mitt Romney and Billy the Clod, both persecuted and losers. All right, kids. Speaking of losers. Barnacle says, it's weird hearing Trump talk about God so much when he sexualized his daughter on TV and cheated on every wife he's ever had and loved Epstein. It's like he's trying to act like he's religious. Well, remember, all the chapters in the Bible are his favorite, and specifically 2 Corinthians. And, of course, the Book of Colossians. One of my favorite. All right, kids. Hey, thanks everyone for joining us. You don't delete Louis. Don't let Louis say his piece. It's fine. As long as he's not insulting and abusive, it's fine. But I do, Louis, if you're still watching, I do want you to go and figure out why there was a negative report with the GDP, which many people were surprised by. But when you look at it, it's like, oh, okay, that's not bad, which is why the stock market reacted the way that it did. It could have been devastating. Now, we may get another one. Taro, I don't know if you think that's an insult, but okay. I mean, I play on a gay hockey team. It's like there's nothing wrong with that, but the fact that you find something wrong with that tells me about your self-esteem, and I hope that you feel better about who you are and not so insecure in your sexuality moving forward. Okay, anyway, let's not bring anybody back. Let's call it a night. Yeah, God, that was 3 hours, kids. 3 hours. That's too much Trump on a Sunday. Go out, find your people, love them, enjoy them, be nice to each other, be good to others, and most importantly, be good to your Heavenly Father.